The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Severe flooding in New Providence. Officials say it's as much rain as we would have seen in a Category 3 hurricane. The most new COVID cases in months. And F&M's hold a conclave to analyze the election defeat. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, May 16th, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. I'll be flying solo this morning as Pamela Musgrove is on vacation today. Also this morning, it's International Day of the Boy Child, and we're going to be talking about that, the challenges, the pressures facing our young men, our boys today. And later, we are going to be talking with the Department of Inland Revenue. That's going to go into our Morning Blend business hour as well, but it's going to begin in our 8 o'clock hour. You definitely don't want to miss that. We're talking everything, real property tax, VAT, what you need to know. It's all straight ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, heavy rainfall pounding New Providence over the weekend from Friday evening into about Saturday, creating a nightmarish situation for some residents and an annoyance for others who feared this could portend the kind of hurricane season that looms. Forecaster Wayne Neely reported that 12.37 inches of rain recorded at Lyndon Pinling International Airport. To put that into context, he said that normally we get an average of 8 to 12 inches of rainfall from a normal Category 1 to 3 hurricane. Neely said that given that the climate section of the Department of Meteorology only operates on weekdays, he could not be 100% certain, but he said, quote, "From all indications, that total could be a record, if not close to a record." Lots of stories of what residents experienced in today's Nassau Guardian. Pick up a copy to read more about that, and we'll have more on that coming up as well. 2 men murdered in separate incidents in New Providence over the weekend. Police say officers were alerted to an incident on Sierra Leone Avenue in Flamingo Gardens. That was around 9 p.m. on Friday. When they arrived on the scene, they found a man lying in the street suffering from gunshot wounds. Emergency medical services pronounced the man dead on the scene. The initial investigation revealing that the man was having a conversation with another person in a vehicle when they were approached by another car. A man got out of that vehicle and opened fire, shooting the victim several times. The second incident happened just before 4 a.m. on Saturday. Officers were called to a residence on Whitefin Tuna Road off Carmichael Road, responding to a stabbing incident. When they got there, they were directed to the front room of the residence where they found a man lying on the floor with stab wounds. He was pronounced dead on the scene. Police say investigations reveal that a man and a woman were involved in an argument which resulted in the woman allegedly stabbing that man with a sharp object. The woman is in custody. 63 COVID cases confirmed in the Bahamas, the highest single-day count in months. This was on Saturday. Of them, 58 were on New Providence, 2 in Abaco, 2 in Eleuthera, and 1 with its location pending. With 322 tests performed on that day, the positivity rate was 19.6%, nearly 4 times as much as the World Health Organization's recommended 5% maximum for the economy to be open. 41 cases were recorded between Thursday and Friday, 35 of them on New Providence, 4 on Grand Bahama, and 2 on Abaco. As of Saturday, there were 424 cases in the country, active cases. In recent months, daily new case numbers in the country remain low, frequently in the single digits. However, in recent weeks, the daily counts have been creeping up, with hospitalizations also slowly increasing. 14 people were hospitalized with COVID as of Saturday, none of whom were in intensive care, though. 11 of the patients were in Princess Margaret Hospital, 2 in hospitals in Grand Bahama, and 1 in Doctors Hospital. 1 COVID death also confirmed on Thursday, an 83-year-old woman from New Providence who died on May 9th. As of Saturday, 801 COVID deaths have been recorded in the country. Another 189 people were confirmed to have died with COVID, but not because of it, while 25 deaths are still under investigation. And 8 months after the 2021 general election, members of the FNM meeting in conclave over the weekend to formally analyze the reasons for their defeat at the polls and to chart a way forward. During a press conference after the conclave, FNM leader Michael Pintard outlined some of the reasons why the party believes it lost the election. He says they believe members of the public wanted them to be a lot more responsive to their concerns. He says they acknowledge that they could have been and fully intend to be more accessible. And he says there was a concern by members of the community in the midst of COVID that their businesses were adversely affected. Pintard says the FNM needs to strengthen the party's work at the level of its associations and express gratitude for all members of the associations who shared their views on the matters. And testing for the long-awaited Marco alert system will begin on the Family Islands today and will be launched across the country in 2 weeks. For now, only individuals with Android devices will receive the alert. According to Assistant Commissioner of Police Javargo Dames, they're satisfied with the results they've seen from the Android telephone devices. They're waiting for a fix for Apple devices, and they've been in contact with Apple in order to get this to work for iPhones. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe says it's best to launch the alert now instead of waiting for the issues with the iPhone system to be addressed. And a 22-year-old woman broke down in tears in court after a magistrate refused to allow her to withdraw a domestic violence complaint against her boyfriend. Police charged 38-year-old Naria Hepburn of Bird Road, Sunset Park, with maiming Walternique Black after she claimed that he hit her in the left eye, resulting in the loss of her eyeball. The assault allegedly took place after the couple got into a quarrel at a pool party on March 20th of this year. However, Black telling Magistrate Samuel McKinney that she wanted to drop the case because she believed Hepburn hit her accidentally. She claimed that several years before the incident, her brother had hit her in the same eye and that the trauma caused her to get cataracts. The magistrate asked the prosecutor to see the emergency room physician's assessment of the injury. According to the doctor's report, the injury was serious and likely to terminate fatally. As a result, McKinney refused to permit the withdrawal over objections from the defense attorney given the complainant's position. Overseas, the white gunman accused of committing a racist massacre at a Buffalo, New York supermarket made threatening comments that brought police to his high school last spring, but he was never charged with the crime and had no further contact with law enforcement after his release from a hospital. The revelation raising questions about whether his encounter with police and the mental health system was yet another missed opportunity to put a potential mass shooter under closer law enforcement scrutiny, get him help, or make sure he didn't have access to deadly firearms. Authorities said Sunday that they were investigating the attack on predominantly black shoppers and workers at the Tops Friendly Market as a potential federal hate crime or act of domestic terrorism. 18-year-old Peyton Gendron traveled about 200 miles from his home in Conklin, New York, to Buffalo to commit the attack. Federal authorities are still working to confirm the authenticity of a racist 180-page document purportedly written by Gendron, and that the assault was intended to terrorize all non-white, non-Christian people and get them to leave the country. Law enforcement officials revealing Sunday that New York State police troopers have been called to Gendron's high school last June for a report that the then 17-year-old had made threatening statements. In sports, a pair of Bahamians shining new light on multi-events in athletics here in the Bahamas in this past weekend. No different as major international titles were captured. This time it was former national record holder Ken Mullings rising to the forefront, winning the men's decathlon title at the NACAC Combined Events Area Championship, scoring 7,537 combined points in Ottawa, Canada over the weekend. That's the North American, Central American, and Caribbean Athletic Association. Mullings winning easily over Canadian Sean Baudouin and others. Baudouin was a distant second. Mullings won the 8 of the 10 events over the 2 days of competition, was second in another, and ended the multi-events with a 5th place finish in the men's 1,500-meter race. Mullings and fellow Bahamian Kendrick Thompson have been going back and forth in the men's decathlon over the past 3 years, both having their turns with the national record, which now stands at 7,762 points, set by Thompson at the University of Miami Cobb Stadium in Coral Gables, Florida in April. The Bahamas senior men's national soccer team wrapping up a 2-game friendly against the Turks and Caicos Islands with a 2-1 loss at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. This was on Saturday. In the first game on Thursday, the Bahamas won 4-2. The team is preparing for the upcoming CONCACAF Nations League competition, and head coach Nestle Jean and his assistant Kevin Davies are making their final determinations before making a final cut. The Bahamas is in League B, Group C of the competition, which gets underway Friday, June 3rd at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. The Bahamas will take on St. Vincent and the Grenadines at home before taking on Trinidad and Tobago in Trinidad on Monday, June 6th. The Bahamas will then host Nicaragua on Friday, June 10th, before closing the window of play with an away match against Nicaragua on Monday, June 13th. Read more about this in today's Guardian Sports section. And after a night of torrential downpour, rowers experienced good conditions Saturday as the Nassau Rowing Club and Windsor Rowing Club faced each other at Lake Cunningham for the Lake Cunningham Classic. In the 5-race regatta, rowers competed on a 1,500-meter course. It was the first time that both clubs went head-to-head, showcasing their best athletes. Read more about that in today's Guardian Sports section. From the NBA, we know who's going to be in the East and West Conference Finals as the Boston Celtics beat the defending champions, Milwaukee Bucks, Grant Williams scored a career-high 27 points and hit 7 three-pointers. Jason Tatum added 23, and Boston set a Game 7 record with 22 three-pointers to eliminate the Bucks 109-81. They are heading to the Eastern Conference semifinals. Well, that was the Eastern Conference semifinals. They're heading to the Eastern Conference finals, and the Celtics are going to face the top-seeded Miami Heat beginning Tuesday in a rematch of the 2020 East Finals. The Heat beat the Celtics in 6 games in that series at Walt Disney World in that bubble. Meanwhile, in the West, the Mavericks destroying the Golden State Warriors. Coach Jason Kidd making it clear during an interview before Game 7 that no matter what happens Sunday night, the Dallas Mavericks should consider this a successful season, and it became even more special just a few hours later. Luka Doncic scoring 35 points, Spencer Dinwiddie adding 30, and the Mavericks overwhelmed the top-seeded Phoenix Suns 123-90 in a Game 7 that will be remembered for the Mavericks' dominance and the Suns' disappearance. The Suns behind as many as 46 points at one point during the game. The Mavericks are off to the Western Conference Finals for the 5th time in franchise history and for the first time since 2011. They will face the Golden State Warriors in Game 1 on Wednesday. They defeated the Suns. I might have said the Warriors, but they're going to play. Maybe I'm predicting. They're going to play the Warriors. Play the Warriors in the Western Finals. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your first look at weather for today, last thing many people want to hear after that weekend, we've got another severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of the northwest Bahamas. Specifically, this is for western Grand Bahama, Bimini, and North Andros. The Department of Meteorology saying expect some showers to be locally heavy at times and thunderstorms to be strong to severe, causing strong gusty winds, dangerous lightning, heavy downpours, hail, and possible waterspout or tornado activity. Localized flooding also possible during the passage of these storms. What's going on here? We are experiencing a bout of unstable weather as an air mass coupled with troughing will continue to support unsettled weather across the country today. Again, boaters and residents should be alert for possible waterspout and or tornado activity, and beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along South Coast beaches. Localized flooding is also possible in low-lying and flood-prone areas during heavy and prolonged rainfall events. For today, for the northwest and central Bahamas, look for variable cloudy to overcast conditions with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Expect breezy conditions across the extreme northwest Bahamas, and some showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Smallcraft caution in effect for the extreme northwestern islands. Smallcraft operators should exercise caution and be alert for gusty winds and higher season showers and thunderstorms. Wind southerly at 15 to 20 knots in the extreme northwestern islands. Southerly at 10 to 15 knots, but falling light and variable at times in the remainder of the northwest and central islands. Seas 4 to 7 feet in the extreme northwestern islands, but 2 to 4 feet in the remainder of the northwest and central Bahamas. For the southeastern islands today, partly to mostly cloudy, breezy, and warm with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. Smallcraft caution in effect. Winds southeasterly at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 7 feet. Temperatures today getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 73 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Switch for better when you move your mortgage to Scotiabank.
Leave behind that old mortgage plan and open the door to a low interest rate. No payments for up to 2 months and cash back of 2.5% of the mortgage amount up to US $10,000. And guess what? It gets better. Apply for your Scotiabank credit card and enjoy a low 9.99% introductory rate for the first 6 months. Switch for better and upgrade your mortgage today with Scotiabank. Offer ends June 30th, 2022.
Around the world, Cleveland Clinic is recognized as a leader in healthcare. Our team of experts relentlessly pursues the best for our patients. From groundbreaking cancer research to state-of-the-art heart surgery, life-saving innovations happen here every day. When it's time to travel for your health, it's time to travel to Cleveland Clinic. Your destination for care. For every care in the world. To learn more, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
It's back! One of the biggest regattas on the sailing calendar. It's the 53rd annual Long Island Regatta in Salt Pond, Long Island, June 1st to 4th. Yeah! The biggest economic boost for Long Island is back with more than 40 sloops competing in the A, B, C, and D classes, along with the Long Island Youth Regatta and the Man in the Boat sculling races. Don't miss this major cultural experience June 1st to 4th, the 53rd annual Long Island Regatta in Salt Pond. All of the fastest sloops will be there. Artisans displaying their handmade crafts, jewelry, and scrollwork. Great food, including the world-famous native mutton dishes, and endless memories all await you at the 53rd annual Long Island Regatta in Salt Pond.
Long Island breeze, your sheep are bleating.
Guardian Media will be broadcasting live at the 53rd annual Long Island Regatta with live updates of the sailing results and activities every day. It's the 53rd annual Long Island Regatta in beautiful Salt Pond, Long Island, June 1st to 4th.
Yeah! Regatta update, sponsored by the Salt Fiber Rebar. No steel, no big deal. The Dalpinas Agency, distributors of Hunt's Ketchup and Lickety Split, a cool spot for hot shots.
Imagine driving your dream car, doing all the things you never thought you could, like perfecting your parallel parking skills or picking up your date. Everyone loves to dream. Stop dreaming. Start driving with a brand new offer from Scotiabank. With an auto loan from Scotiabank, benefit from no payments for up to 2 months, a low interest rate up to 9 years to repay, and free insurance for the first year up to 2.5% of the loan amount. Promotion ends June 30th, 2022. Stop dreaming and start driving today with an auto loan from Scotiabank.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 at BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Remember, standard text rates apply on the BTC-powered text line. We'll give you the phone numbers to call in just a bit, but once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Coming up today, more weather. A lot happening weather-wise. We're going to be talking about what happened over the weekend as well. And traffic. And in our 7 o'clock hour, in this hour, we're going to be talking about the International Day of the Boy Child. That is today. We're going to get some details about that and the key issues that you need to keep in mind. Then in our 8 o'clock hour, we're going to begin a conversation that's going to extend into Morning Blend Business, talking with the Department of Inland Revenue. So many of you have had questions about real property tax, what's happening there. You've gotten the bills that say you owe more. We'll get into all of that and more with the Department of Inland Revenue this morning. So a lot to get to on this Monday morning. Let's begin, though, with what's in the news. And in the news, that weather of the weekend, severe flooding in New Providence. We're going to get into that in just a bit. Just want to talk about some other issues in the papers today before we get caught up with the weather story. COVID, 63 cases confirmed on Saturday, the highest single-day count in months. This was on the dashboard released on Saturday. Of them, 58 were on New Providence, 2 on Abaco, 2 on Eleuthera, and 1 with its location pending. 322 tests were performed that day, and the positivity rate was 19.6%, nearly 4 times as much as the World Health Organization recommends. The recommended 5% maximum. 41 cases were recorded between Thursday and Friday, and 35 of them were in New Providence, 4 on Grand Bahama, and 2 on Abaco. We've been seeing the numbers tick up, and Saturday that's pretty scary. We've been hearing more and more about it. The schools, so many schools had to, they decided to go back to virtual learning. We're hearing offices are deciding to allow or to force, in some cases, their workers to stay home. And we're back to this again. In some cases, it sounds like it's been over 1 or 2 cases, and we wonder if that is really the action we should be taking. If you hear about that, and with all that we know now, do you really need to do this? Were those people really in such close contact that it required you to close down the whole office? You know, this isn't 2020, folks. We know, right? Or is it just out of an abundance of caution? What's happening here? What do you make of it? Hearing that number, 63 in one day, what do you think needs to be done? Do we need to carry on smartly, or do we need to go back to some of the things we were doing before? Let's get your views on that really quickly. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's see if this caller is talking about this. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
And good morning to the Bahamas, and I hope that Bahamas is enjoying a wonderful vacation.
I hope so, too.
I'm calling mainly about the weather situation, but I'd like to just quickly say in regards to COVID, we have to learn to live with this ailment, obviously. But it's I'm one of those Bahamians who is very fatigued about wearing masks and all those things. So the question is now, what do we do? When the country is at the point where the whole country is tired of wearing masks and you get rid of the mask, what do you do? Because obviously when you don't wear a mask or you don't social distance or you go back into the job place or the workplace, the cases go up. So right now, only God knows how best we in this country are going to be able to deal with it. We have to live wisely, live smartly, and I am so tired of wearing masks, right? Because I mean, sometimes you're breathing in your own air, you tend like you're going to faint or get, it's really a tough situation right now for everybody to be in. So I really don't honestly know what to suggest that putting in my 5 cents on it as to how we can best go about that. It's just such a perplexing situation.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I mean, I think some people, from what I'm hearing, they one or two cases and they've decided to go entirely virtual. And I understand that we did that in 2020. People were saying that that's not necessary, but we didn't know. And we did these extreme measures, but we know a little bit better now. And we've got not as many people as they had hoped vaccinated and boosted, but a good number of people, and people have had it. And I'm not sure if this is necessary entirely, unless you are in close contact of somebody who has had it. But we don't always know what we're dealing with new variants popping up here and there.
Right. Now, my other matter having to do with the weather. From the royal visit on the 25th of March, I was perplexed about this very thing I'm about to ask you. Are we now seeing such retention of water gathering on the surface of this island now because of the rise in the sea level because of global warming? Because, Dwight, even though I know we've had flooding on Nassau before, we've had it before over the years, but I do not remember flooding being on this island just because of one weekend or one day's worth of rain.
Well, that was an unusual amount of rain, though. That was
I get that, but even in the even where I live, it didn't rain much up in the area where I'm at. So it must have rained like cats and dogs out west or out east or wherever it was.
It was out west and southwest. Out east, where I was west. We'll get to this in a bit, but I was west Friday evening, and I was fully expecting to meet my home floating. But it was dry as I couldn't understand it. Like, what? Wow. All of that out west and out east, we got a few sprinkles, thunder and lightning.
I remember about maybe 10 years ago, one weekend it rained like cats and dogs out west. Out west got flooded. 3 weekends later, it rained like cats and dogs out east. Out east got flooded.
Yeah.
So like I said, I understand that. But what perplexed me, like I said, on the royal visit, the 25th of March, and a few weeks ago, Dwight, it only rained like for about half an hour, and Nassau was flooded.
Yeah. So, Friday was different. It rained more than half an hour.
No, I'm not referring to this weekend.
Okay.
I'm just talking about over the span of a few months. I've been noticing. This is. I mean, do you guys plan on having any meteorologists on any time soon to talk about these things? I know hurricane season is right there.
Yeah, that we're scheduled to have that. I guess it'll come up at that time.
Yeah, because I am honestly beginning to wonder. I'm seeing a trend, and I'm wondering if what I'm beginning to see really has anything to do with the water table rising because of global warming and the sea level rising, and because of that basic element there of the water table, sea level rising. Water is not flowing off the land as rapidly and as easily as it once used to. So I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about it, but again, that was an unusual rainfall event.
Right,
but we'll ask when we talk to them. Thanks so much.
Right.
Thanks so much. All right, so we'll get to that in a bit. I know there's a lot that you want to say about that, and the pictures, the waterspout tornado. Oh, man, what a weekend, eh? All right, so back to COVID. This person texting in says, these schools and office closures are ridiculous. We can't continue to chase COVID numbers. The positive ads will continue to fluctuate. Positive ads. Get vaccinated and learn to live with it. All right. This person says here, this is something we have to live with. People only know that they have COVID because they have to test for travel or job-related. We are not going back. Well, that's not quite true. Some people are testing because they don't feel well. And so not only because of that, but we do have to live with it. Absolutely. This person says, Dwight, don't forget the Easter holiday just went and a lot of people stopped wearing their masks. Now we're seeing why the cases are going up again. Some people don't seem to know about this virus, that the virus is still around. Well, I think some people don't care. And as others say, they're fatigued. But yeah, we said it, right? Remember? Let's just give it a chance before we talk about eliminating masks and, dropping mask mandates. Let's see what happens after Easter. And if we don't see any movement, then we can talk like that. And here we are. We're seeing some definite movement, but it's still not any reason to panic yet, right? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. This texter says, if the country took proper data from day one, we'd be able to know exactly who and where to target for this COVID rise. I'm sure there are hotel workers or any tourism sector job that interact with tourists. These are the hotel workers or any tourism sector that interacts with tourists. Trust me, strategic data would help. Okay, well, I mean, those folks are everywhere, so that means it is everywhere. No? This texter says, Dwight, it appeared that this uptick happened after the return of Bahamians from Crifta Games, where it was clearly seen from the photos in Jamaica that there were no protocols or social distancing or mask wearing followed. I personally know of people who returned and tested positive. Just the Crifta Games? I mean, people were traveling all over the place where numbers were going up. So, okay. Travelers, that's what many have concluded is what's happening. Bahamian travelers and tourists coming in. So, yeah. I don't understand with COVID so high, how could they allow carnival? And Dwight, please tell the Prime Minister and Dem to build a new hospital because that hospital is a disaster. And out south, it floods everywhere. They know where flooding happens. Why don't they put drains there? Again, you could have had the best flooding network in the globe, the whole planet. And I don't know if that would have helped much with what we saw on Friday. That's just me. I don't know. Engineers, you could let us know what you think. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well.
Yeah, I know you all the caller was talking about fatigue, but, in life we have plagues come and go. And it's, what comes around goes around. So it's a world thing. And we just have to continue to follow our protocols until they can find a solution to this virus. It's a historical thing. It's always been happening from the time we were born. So tell them not to be fatigued, but just to pray about it and read your Bible and trust in God. That's the best thing to do. Do not be fatigued. We got crime. We got inflation. At the time you become fatigued, you may have to drop dead. You don't want that. So this is a part of life, Dwight. It's a part of life. You know what I mean?
Okay. I'm sure. Yes, I guess. I mean, I wish I could. As you said, people died, so I can't be too casual about it. But sure. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Nope. Okay, and that one too. Let's get back to some of your other messages. This person says here, we have to have some measure of control. When the hospital becomes overwhelmed, people die. We have experienced that. Yeah, so we have to be concerned when the numbers are going up, right? Can't just say, because we don't want to get back to where we have 200 people and some are getting sick and have to go to the hospital and overwhelm the hospital again. So that is, I know some people say, why are we even talking about this? But we know what we're dealing with in this country. We've got a lot of challenges. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Good morning.
And good morning to those who wake up in the land of the living. I hope everyone had something hot on their chest. Mr. Strachan, on Friday, I said something about this COVID situation. And, Dwight, people might disagree with what I have to say, but you have to understand something, Mr. Strachan, and you've been on the radio for years, over a decade. The only language that I use the word some people in the country that we live in called the Bahamas is enforcement with some people. All right? And I can give you an example. I went this weekend to a food store, a well-known food store, and people in the food stores like, hey, it's like business as usual, as not wearing the mask, and you have the security inside there. They're not telling people to walk through the aisles or walk through the food store and telling people to wear your mask. I understand that if you're not in the presence, and I wouldn't tell nobody to wear a mask if you're in your car by yourself. That's being ridiculous. Or if you're exercising, wear a mask. That you have to breathe. But when you're in the presence of people, be considerate. Even if you're not considerate for yourself, be considerate for other persons. And Mr. Strawn, the country is open up. Whereas the Prime Minister allowed people to get some sort of normalcy back with their businesses, with their economy, and some of these people who don't care. Some of them just don't care, Mr. Strawn. The numbers will go up because they're not taking self-responsibility. I don't care how much you come on the radio. I don't care how much doctors you bring. I don't care how much ministers you bring. And tell Bahamian people, we, Dwight, everybody in this country take some sort of self-responsibility and not let your guard down. The numbers will continue to go up. Yep. We have to take responsibility, Mr. Strawn. I don't care, and nobody, and you yourself, as a talk show host, you don't want to go back to being locked down. Nobody wants that again. Schools open up. Everything, you have to balance it. You have to balance it, Dwight.
You're saying that you were in a supermarket where the people weren't wearing masks? Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Dwight, I'm not one of them who like to film things and put on social media to look for likes or look for people comments, But it happens for true. It happens for true. Listen, when you get out from your studio, you close to a food store by you, all right? You go in there. And tomorrow morning, God spare life to live, you come back on your talk show and you say, and you give us your findings of what you see. Because people in this country have to take responsibility, self-responsibility. Schools close again. For what? So that means now, Mr. Strong, before I go, every time a number go up, that means in the school children, no schools. So that means if the numbers go up for the rest of our lives, God forbid, that means we will have no school. The children who are in grade 3 and 4 will be completely lost with no kind of learning. You have to adapt. You have to adjust. If you know that your class has 30 students, cut it down. Put your dividers or your plexiglass in between. Cut it down. We have to adjust to this, Mr. Strawn. This is ridiculous. On a Monday morning, school just open up. Children them can't go back to school. Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It would be crazy. Can you imagine if we did that during flu season? Just 5 people have the flu, shut down the school. I don't know. Okay. This person says here, living with COVID does not mean throwing caution to the wind. Cavalier abandon is ridiculous. Living with COVID means carrying out your daily activities with caution. Let's use data, please. 2020 was way different from today. It was not simply we didn't know. People were dying in astronomical numbers with very distressing symptoms. The precautions were not optional. For the life of me, I do not understand why we continue the cycle of shock and surprise a few weeks after the tourism minister and the hotel bosses tell us how pleased they are that the travel numbers and hotel bookings have increased dramatically. The time for shock and awe was March 18th, before Easter, when the dashboard reported 5 new cases, then 18 new cases. That's using data. This is not Easter holiday. Once a new variant crosses the border, it will spread because we have no quarantine mechanism. Right. Great text messages there. This person says here, you know why we don't care? Because this whole COVID thing has been duplicitous. Why are we forced to wear masks, but the tourists are not? It makes no sense. All the things we were forced to do since COVID started made no sense. Make it make sense. All right, let's go back to the phone lines, and then we'll move on to the weather issue. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning.
Great. Did you get any alerts as to which schools are closed or anything?
Well, last week we reported that St. Anne's and Queens College and SAC and Stephen Dillett. I think Stephen Dillett's back today, but that was
I think the schools are only like closing for a few days.
right. A few days.
Until they, because if you come up with cases, you have to, isolate. You can't really help the children, and teachers with this COVID. And what's is it?
Well, that depends, though. I mean, they're shutting down the whole school as
like a
opposed to certain
classroom
grades.
Or block.
Right. I think
sometimes
SAC had certain grades, and I think QC had certain grades, but St.
because
Anne's
they
was
go-
the whole.
Yeah, because the kids they don't stay in one classroom. They move from class to class. You know it is in high school.
Mm.
And another thing in reference to the wearing of masks, we have let our guards down. I think we've got to relax because you see people walking around, like gentlemen said, going in with no mask. People aren't sanitizing. Like how some of them used to be to the door, with the hand sanitizer. When you go in the stores, you press the thing, it's empty.
Mm-hmm.
We have to continue wearing our masks, having our kids take their little packets, with the COVID packets to school, and then with the wipes and everything, to try and take personal responsibility and protect ourselves. Because the tourists, they're not wearing the mask, but I don't think that's a reason for the staff, the employees, especially in these hotels. They must keep the guards up. And one more question, Dwight. Are the hotels testing their staff, continually testing their staff at work?
I don't know.
Right, because
I don't
all of
know.
these things we have to look into, to make sure to keep a thing on this, because a hold on this, and fatigue or no fatigue, you prefer being alive and fatigued than dead and relaxed.
I mean, so if they're testing them, they should test the guests too, right? But they won't.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think when you see numbers go up to a certain point, I think they should require the guests to begin wearing masks indoors again. Okay, thank you, Dwight.
Well, yeah, no, that sounds like that's not going to happen. Don't hold your breath. Pardon any mask puns there, but don't hold your breath for that one. It sounds like expect everything before that. All right, a couple messages, then we'll get to Friday, that weather situation. I agree with that caller. Bahamians do not want to follow the rules, and women are the biggest offenders in closed places. What now? Okay. This one says here, the goal was not to eradicate COVID, but to prevent death. This panic over people getting COVID is due to fear-mongering. Okay. Another one here, I bet you $1 million that 70% or more of the new cases are hotel staff. And what does that mean? They got it where? From amongst the population or from the travelers, from the hotel guests? What do you think is happening there? And this one says here, everyone, every morning the school should be tested. Really? Okay. This one says here, your last caller asked if the hotels are testing the staff. I work at a hotel out west, and no, they do not test us. Only if someone is testing positive will they test us. But this person says here, Dwight Bahamar is testing their staff. I know that for certain. Okay, so it's a lot of back and forth. And this text here, sin is to blame for all sorrows. Okay, thank you. And this one says, I notice you guys still haven't said one word about the Pfizer papers. Learning the truth instead of following an authority figure is hard but necessary. Okay, thank you very much. All right, let's talk about Friday. Friday, that weather, my goodness, that rain. You saw the video, maybe you experienced it. The videos, so many cars stranded. Folks, be careful if anyone's trying to sell you a car over the next few weeks. You got to make sure it wasn't, right? Right? Okay. Anyway, what was that? For more on what people experienced, and we want to hear from you about what you went through, take a listen to this report from our partners at Our News and Jerome Sawyer.
Carmichael and Gladstone Roads, the airport access road, most of Coral Harbor, and nearby streets along with the Frank Watson Boulevard flooded Saturday morning. Daybreak revealing western and southern New Providence underwater from overnight torrential rain. As many as 3 motorists caught on the Frank Watson Boulevard had to hunker down in vehicles in what was described as a graveyard of cars stalled in the floods. Bus driver Lyndon Ramming was on his way to pick up at the brewery when he got stuck.
I made it through, and I tried to go life for Kiwi. That was even worse, you know. So I said, let me turn back around. I can't, since I made it this way, I decided to come back this way, you know. But I was here from like, from 11, almost 12 o'clock until now. When I came to the water, water came up and it was just stalled out. Oh wow.
One driver told our news the water in his car rose above his knees and he couldn't see the ground. By the time morning commuters took to the airport and Windsor Field roads, they met similar fates, casualties of the high flood waters. As morning traffic flowed, the parade of stalled cars continued growing. And motors weren't alone. A group of 7 GGYA students were also late for their morning rendezvous point, leaving expedition panel member Vivian Missick very concerned.
We usually meet them up there, so it's a checkpoint. But hopefully they'll figure it out. Or maybe the water will go down a bit in a while and we can walk up or get up there. Maybe we'll just have to walk up there.
In the Pinecrest community, an aerial view showing renewed flooding amidst the construction sites for a second time this week. An unusually early summer storm catching most of the southwestern communities by surprise. Reporting for our news, I'm Jerome Sawyer.
Okay, and the Met Office will say it was a combination of factors that led to this, but they are estimating that we might have seen about 12.37 inches of rain at Linton Pinling International Airport. That is a heck of a lot of water, folks. And there was going to be flooding no matter what. As people say, the drainage system, yeah, we do need work with that, but that couldn't have helped in a situation like this. What's disturbing, though, is that people continue to try to drive through floods, and especially in little cars. Well, what are you trying to do? What do you think you're driving? You think you're on a boat? I'm not sure. But what's that all about? And then you saw those, as the report said, casualties of this, just stranded cars, some floating, it seemed, in very, very deep water, over the hoods in many cases. And seriously dangerous situations, especially at night. But let's get your reaction to this, your experience from Friday night. As we said, this was west and southwest New Providence. Shockingly, out east, we didn't experience much at all. This is a small island, 21 by 7, but sometimes some things can happen in one part that you think, well, the whole world must be experiencing this, but nope. Sunny and dry on the other side of the island. Amazing. You've seen the video of the waterspout that came on land and became a tornado, and the patrons at a restaurant who were standing up, and many of them recording the waterspout until it came on land and aimed right at them. That was terrifying. And you could see it moving. I don't want to be judgmental, but I'm not sure what that was all about, why none of you decided that was a good time to start running. But why would you wait? It was coming. You could see it. Happened to be out west at that time, saw that waterspout, and was in a vehicle and let us floor this car and get out of that is coming on land. But we could see all the people at the restaurant recording and laughing like, hey, look at that. It's beautiful. No. And it was getting bigger and gaining strength and coming closer. And then, boy, I tell you, we've got to pay more attention to what's going on, folks, and stop driving through flooded water. But let's get your reaction to it. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. And as we saw in this report in the NASA Guardian today, our Candia Dames writing about it, people are concerned. If we have one of those smaller hurricanes where there's a lot of rain, a tropical storm or a smaller hurricane, we're going to be in some serious problems, right? And what's your action plan should we face something like that? Do you have one? Do you have a spot? Do you know not to drive here, not to try to drive through it, to try to go around? Do you know which streets fare better, which are more elevated and flood less? Although it seemed like almost everybody was flooded on Friday. It was really terrible. But what do you have to say? And also, are you concerned? There are some areas. Sure, this was an unusual amount of rain, but there's some areas that flood with just a light rain. And nothing seems to be done about that. Like that, there's an area on West Bay Street, west of Delaport, on the way, that's always, what's that area called? Near Sea Beach. It's always a lake there. And it continues to be like that. We've got one out Prince Charles as well. Always an issue. And are we doing anything about it? We just allow it to come and just wait a few days for the water to subside and then go about our merry way without trying to find a solution to this problem. What do you make of that? All right, so let's get your reaction. Again, call us, text us, tweet us. This person says here, I wonder if people realize that the western area has a lot of swampland that people filled in and sold as prime land. That's a whole lot in New Providence, actually, a whole lot. This person says here, if the GGYA participants can't figure out how to navigate knee-high water, we are all in trouble. Well, they're younger. Some of them might have been waist-high, right? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
You know, in the Bahamas, we don't prepare for nothing, man, right? We just about the end of the hurricane season. I ain't hearing nobody tell people prepare, go get your can good. We know we in a rainy area.
Okay, let me stop you right there. That means you aren't listening. Because we just had, that means you're not listening. Because we just had Nima on, and so people are telling you. People are saying that is happening, but maybe not as many people as you'd like. But they are.
Okay, you're talking about probably one isolated incident with Nima was on.
Okay.
But I'm talking about constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's take.
But you know it happens every year, right? So do you need to hear that every year? Even though they are doing it, but do you?
Yeah, but still, just like your radio station could be doing a bunch of things in Creole and English, we could constantly do that. You understand? And just let's say rain. We don't prepare for nothing in the Bahamas. We know we got some roads that if you drop a glass of water, it can flood. So what should happen in the off season? Ministry of Waste should go around with signs and put up signs that in the event of rain, this road will flood, this is a detour. Things like that. We're supposed to be doing stuff like that, man, in this country. Not wait till the people them get way through the corner and then you can't turn around the waterway up by the hood. You understand me? And then we need to educate, especially the female drivers, about what happens to their cars, because a lot of them don't know that their distributors are very low or their wires and stuff like that. So if they roll through a glass of water, it can start out the vehicle. You know, we need to keep educating, man, about everything. Anyway, thanks for taking the call.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I don't think it's just the female drivers, but okay. You gotta let everybody know that stuff, but I don't know why you would think you could. Honestly, I don't. If I see a puddle an inch thick, I turn around. To tell you the truth. Seriously, I don't drive through, especially at night. Dark water at night, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. This texter here, Dwight, you remember when Pinewood used to flood and no one did anything? Are you texting from the future? Because when does it not flood? It didn't. I don't think it flooded much this time. But yeah. Okay. Yes, we remember because it still happens. But we're like, we're not going to do anything. So I get you. This person says here, didn't you just say we can't do anything about the flooding? Now you're talking about action plan. Well, that type of flooding we can't do anything about, perhaps. But we know that even 2 inches of rain can cause certain areas to flood, and we don't do anything. That's what I'm saying. So what's that about? They go on to say your government got to put in drains and keep them clean. Okay, yep, that's true. This one says here, also, we need markers. People drive through water because they have no idea how deep it is. I'd suggest coloring coded markers on the streets. Okay, maybe. And this person says that people think these small cars have superpowers. Apparently, yes. Folks, the rainy season is just about here, so we're going to be seeing a lot more of these situations. So let's not do what we did on Friday. Don't try to drive through this stuff. And let's come up with a better plan, right? We hope everybody dries out from that. And we do come up with an action plan when it happens again, because you know it will. Anyway, we're going to be back with more. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio. Stay with us.
Yeah. Oh. Everywhere I go, I feel you there, following my footsteps like a shadow.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's time for your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. And in your real-time traffic, just remember, some of the streets are still flooded, and proceed with caution. We had even more rain yesterday and more expected. So keep that in mind. In your real-time traffic, we're seeing a number of hot spots this morning. Milo Butler Highway, as usual, heavy traffic from Fire Trail all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway this morning in the northbound lanes there. Glassman Road also busy for you just north of Fire Trail all the way up to the roundabout with John F. Kennedy Drive. And Carmichael eastbound to Blue Hill Road, you're going to be seeing some building traffic there. And Blue Hill looking a bit busy for you from St. Vincent up to Independence Drive, especially north of Soldier Road in the northbound lanes. Heading to the roundabout with Independence Drive. Independence Drive backed up westbound to that roundabout and building traffic eastbound as well. And East Street at the East Street and Robinson Road intersection, and between the roundabout with East-West Highway and Independence Drive and the intersection with Soldier Road. That's going to be seeing some building traffic there northbound at this hour. Then we've got pockets along Prince Charles Drive near Elizabeth Estates at the intersection with Fox Hill and at the intersection with Beatrice Avenue, and some pockets along Eastern Road westbound. Marathon Road also busy for you at this hour, heading up to Wolf Road. That's what we're looking at so far. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert. Also getting some reports of Windsor Field Road, seeing some traffic again. There was some major flooding there, so keep that in mind if you are there. And westbound on Carmichael, heading to Coral Harbor Road roundabout. That's what we're seeing. That's your real-time traffic. We're brought to you by RBC. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip-and-pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic. And we've got another check of your weather for today, brought to you by BTC. That severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 9:20 this morning. That's for western Grand Bahama, Bimini, and North Andros, and now includes central Grand Bahama, the Berry Islands, and San Salvador. So it's been updated. We're expecting showers to be locally heavy at times and thunderstorms to be strong to severe at times, causing gusty winds, dangerous lightning, heavy downpours, hail, and possible waterspout or tornado activity. Localized flooding also possible during the passage of these storms. So we've got a lot going on weather-wise. It's all as a result of a broad, unstable air mass coupled with troughing that will continue to support unsettled weather across the country today. For the northwest and central Bahamas, expect variable cloudy to overcast and warm conditions with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. That's going to continue through tonight. Breezy conditions across the extreme northwest Bahamas, and again, some showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Small craft caution in effect for the extreme northwest Bahamas. For the southeastern islands today, partly to mostly cloudy, breezy, and warm with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. Small craft caution in effect. Temperatures getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to around 73 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, residual moisture coupled with lingering troughing will keep rain chances elevated across the area through midweek. So for Tuesday, tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the northwest and central islands. Wednesday, variable cloudiness with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms again. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by BTC. Port to BTC prepaid and get a smartphone for free. Simply port in and activate a $15 combo plan, and your smartphone is free. Visit any BTC location or WhatsApp or email their virtual store to activate your plan today.
Even when dining out is kind of predictable.
Will that be all, miss?
No, I would like that double-decker caramel chocolate cheesecake.
Sometimes you need to make a classic move. That's why for all of life's moments, there's one classic credit card. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic Credit Card. Manage your day-to-day expenses. Apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic and enjoy 1 year's free membership. Conditions apply.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. Add an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
You're always on the go. We know life can be a daily rush. CIBC, First Caribbean, you can count on us. We make life easier. Manage your accounts at any time. Apply for a loan. It's easy when you bank online. We make life easier with choices that suit you. CIBC, First Caribbean.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Weep for yourself, my man. You'll never be what is in your heart. Weep, little lion man. You're not as brave as you were at the start.
Rate yourself and rake yourself. Take all the courage you have left and waste it on fixing all the problems that you made in your own head. But it was not your fault but mine, and it was your heart on the line. I really fucked it up this time, didn't I, my dear? Didn't I, my dear?
Oh dear. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. I apologize if you think you heard something. If you didn't, oh well. Okay. Dwight Strong with you on this Monday morning. Today is International Day of the Boy Child. I don't know why people are swearing in songs. Why are they doing this in good songs too? My goodness gracious. Okay. International Day of the Boy Child. And I'm here to tell us all about this. We're very pleased to welcome from the International Men's Day Bahamas Committee, David Williams, Keith Cox, and Bishop Sanford Roll. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Great to have you with us. Happy International Day of the Boy Child to you.
Morning, Dwight. It's a pleasure. I thank you for the opportunity to invite us here. I'm going to just allow, I don't know if the president is on. If not, then I'm going to allow Bishop Sanford Roll to share a little about it.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much, Dwight, for inviting us to be here, and good morning, Bahamas. Yes, today is World Day of the Boy Child. And of course, our theme for this day, and this is internationally, boosting optimism, restoring self-worth, saving our boys from the shadows. Mm-hmm. And so, but Dwight, we know that there are many marginalized and neglected boys right here in our country, and we are faced, even in this season, with many challenges as it relates to boys and young men in our country. However, today we want to focus on those boys that are doing good and positive stuff. Mm-hmm. We want to lift up the boy that is trying his very best to live a productive life. And so today is the day where we celebrate. I know that there are a lot of criticisms as to what's happening with our young men on the streets and whatnot, but we want to set all of that aside today, and we want to celebrate our boys. World Day of the Boy Child.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a challenge, eh? The boys who are trying, but there's so many forces working against them. The people who will call them names, the people who will tease them, and just seem to really make it so difficult to want to be on the straight and narrow. Why is that? Why? And that's been happening for as long as we can all remember, right? But you see it especially with our younger kids, and when they get to junior high, the forces really do seem to be working against them. And people can say, you're such a good student, you're doing so well behaved, but then you approach these teenage years and suddenly things fall off a cliff. What's happening, and what can we do about that to correct that?
Well, there are a number of things that would contribute to those type of downfalls of boys. And some of those are happening right in our homes.
Yeah.
And so I put a part of that right at the feet of our parenting. I normally say we don't have neglected children. We don't have wayward children. We have parents that have lost their way. And so, granted that some children lose their parents at an early age and all the other unforeseen circumstances that may befall them, for the most part, we have the responsibility as parents to raise our children. The church, the school, civic organization, community groups, they are only to assist us as parents in raising our children. But unfortunately, Brother Dwight, many children are abused right in their home, sexually abused. And I'm not only talking about girls. And I know that the emphasis lately have been based on girls and abuse and rape and all of that stuff. But I put it to you, Brother Dwight, the same thing is happening to our boys. And so we have a responsibility as human beings to protect and shield and shade our boys as well. And so we want to bring some highlights of that today and in the future as we go in the days and months and weeks and years ahead. We want to begin to lift our boys out of those shadows. And so those are some of the things that have caused some of our boys in the school system and otherwise to feel marginalized and feel weak and just drop through the carpet.
Okay, we're going to pick this up after the news. Stay with us. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 4224796. And out 8:20, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. We've got a lot going on weather-wise, a lot happening, and more to come. So we've got a severe weather warning that's in effect until 9:20 this morning for the Northwest Bahamas, portions of the Northwest Bahamas, and San Salvador. So the islands affected, Western Grand Bahama, Bimini, and North Andros, and recently added in the last few minutes, Central Grand Bahama, the Berry Islands, and as we said, San Salvador. So we're expecting showers to be locally heavy at times, and thunderstorms will be strong to severe at times, causing strong gusty winds, dangerous lightning, heavy downpours, hail, and possible waterspout or tornado activity. Localized flooding is also possible during the passage of these storms. It's all as a result of that system we saw over the weekend, and that's going to continue for the next few days. It's a broad, unstable air mass coupled with troughing that will continue to support unsettled weather across the country. For the Northwest and Central Bahamas today, we're expecting variably cloudy to overcast conditions, very warm, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Expect breezy conditions across the extreme Northwest Bahamas. Some showers may be locally heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Beachgoers also need to be exercising caution as there's a risk of rip currents, and there could be waterspouts or tornado. Again, flooding in low-lying or flood-prone areas. Smallcraft cautions in effect for the extreme Northwest Bahamas. Smallcraft operators should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. For the Southeast Bahamas, partly to mostly cloudy, breezy, and warm today with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. Smallcraft caution in effect for boaters. Temperatures today getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 73 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, residual moisture coupled with lingering troughing will keep rain chances elevated across the area through midweek. So for Tuesday, tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms mainly across the northwest and central islands. Wednesday, variable cloudiness with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. 8:23, time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. In your real-time traffic, we are seeing some heavy traffic in some usual hot spots, but also in some areas that aren't usually this hot. One of those, Carmichael Road westbound, heavy traffic there, heading to the roundabout with Coral Harbor Road, and that whole area is going to see some major congestion if you're heading north and south of the roundabout on Coral Harbor Road and heading into Windsor Field Road and northbound on Carmichael. You're going to be seeing that heavy traffic there. Remember now, that area saw some heavy flooding, so keep that in mind if you are heading in that direction. But westbound, heavy traffic as folks try to get in that area. You're going to be seeing that backed up quite a ways. I'm going to try to find an alternate route, but they're also going to see major congestion on your alternates, like Gladstone Road. We haven't seen traffic this far south on Gladstone at this hour. It is well south of the Fire Trail Road roundabout. If you're heading northbound all the way up to JFK Drive, that is a long line of traffic for you there. And the Milo Highway might actually be better for you. The traffic is just north of the Fire Trail roundabout, but heavy north of that area on the way to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. So keep that in mind. Six-legged roundabout, seeing some issues there as well at least 4 of the legs of this roundabout, especially northbound and also eastbound on JFK and south on New Providence Highway. Elsewhere, we've got Independence Drive, heavy traffic both directions, west and eastbound. Blue Hill Road from north of Soldier Road, heavy traffic as you get over that hill. And further up on Blue Hill, just north of the Robinson Road roundabout on the way to Cordo Avenue. Carmichael also busy from about Fire Trail up to Blue Hill. And then the usual Prince Charles Drive, Robinson Road spots. You're going to be seeing that heavy traffic there. And westbound on Eastern Road, building traffic as well. So those are your hot spots for now. You're going to be seeing a lot of challenges this morning, especially with some of the streets still flooded. That's your real-time traffic in the morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Time the doctor played you, I'd meet death before I let you meet harm. Although questions arose in my mind, would I be man enough against wrong? Choose right and be standing up from the hospital that first night.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with you. Will Smith, still the safe choice for some things. Yeah, look at that. It's International Day of the Boy Child, and we are talking with David Williams, Keith Cox, and Bishop Sanford Roll. Before the break, gentlemen, we're getting into some of the reasons, some of the challenges that we're seeing with boys who perfectly well behaved but are facing challenges because of their good behavior, and how we have to find ways to reward the good behaviors that we see. Bishop Roll, you were talking about some of the issues and how it comes down to parenting. I want to talk more about that, and then we'll get into what we are hoping to do today on International Day of the Boy Child. Bishop, you want to pick up from where you were? Or Dave Williams and Keith Cox, you can jump in as well.
Oh, yes, sir. Okay. So, as we were saying, there are many challenges that we face with the boy child. However, as you alluded to, today we want to highlight those boys that are doing well, that are behaving well. We want to reward some good stuff. And but Dwight, not only in academics. I find it ironic that a lot of times in this nation, the only persons when it comes to boys in our nation that we highlight is those that are doing well in academics. There are some boys that are on the streets in their neighborhoods that are walking elderly across the street and doing some good, positive things right on our streets. And so we need to reward them. We need to celebrate them. And we need to encourage our boys as we go along. And so that is the some of the things that we need to begin to do in this nation as it relates to the boys.
Yep. David, is that you?
This is Mr. Cox.
Okay. All right. Keith Cox.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I saw a clip on the social media this week where a student, Anatole Rogers, stopped the bus. When he got on, he said a spiritual message on the bus. And that's unheard of. That's unheard of. We only hear about the bad things that happen in the bus. You bus driver, you can't take this certain route because of this set of people. But stories like that, what that young man did, goes unnoticed. These are the things that we need to put in the forefront. Now, I know there's lots of boys, there's lots of challenges. Dwight, a couple of years ago, or in the early days, you know, the parents, I'm a 60s child, the parents always wanted boy child, girl child. You know why? Because back in the day, pregnancy for the young ladies was tabooed. That was the only thing that was bad, and the boy child was a good child. Nowadays, it's the other way around, because the boys are now giving the parents more trouble. And so we need to celebrate the young boys. Now, there's some things going on in the country with the boys. They did a survey in Freeport. They had a seminar, they did a survey, and they asked the boys what you want to be when you grow up. More of the boys said they wanted to be like the drug dealers.
Oh, boy.
Now, that is heart-wrenching just to hear, because they look at gang and drug dealers as person to look up to, mm-hmm. Person they want to be like, because these guys got all the chain, the fancy cars, and the girls. That is what it is, but it's so far from it. You understand? I went to Alby Sales a couple of months ago to give a speech to the boys, grade 4 or 5 years, boys. And Dwight, listen to me, it is shocking. This young boy came in, he couldn't be no more than 9, 10. He came into the classroom. In fact, this was hosted by Mr. Wade Watson, because he asked me to speak to the boys. And they came flashing the sign. And I okay, I don't know what that sign is. Mm. And so I asked I asked them what that is. And one of the young boys, out the blue, I think I'm a seasoned man, couple gray hair. He came right out and says, I am a mad donkey. Mm. You know, that ain't the word I want to use.
Right.
I at grade 4, you have decided already. Now, I have an issue with that.
Yeah.
I have an issue with that, Brother Dwight.
Yeah. So what are we going to do about that? Because we actually hear stories like that all the time. They're practically in preschool now in the gangs. What do we do?
We don't have enough male-oriented activities in our school. Back in the day, Boys Brigade used to be a thing. The Scouts used to be a thing. I don't want to say they are, this is not a good word, defunct, but we need to get them back going. We need more programs in our school. We got to determine in our schools whether at the early age, at the primary school level, whether the child is going to be academic or they're going to be hand inclined to do work with their hand. No, the regular math and English, they are necessity, because you should be able to read and write and count your figures, right? But you have to just be putting so much effort onto academics. And so when the boys who are not academically inclined don't feel a part or wanted, they resort to what they know. So when you get a boy, you ask him to read and he can't read, what happens? He gets angry. That's where his energy is channeled. So if he can't read that well, he can be able to read a regular newspaper, some clipping. But if he can't read that well or comprehend that well, find him in his niche and you deliver him in that area. I have a mechanic. I kid you not, I wouldn't go to another mechanic. And my mechanic can't read and write. But he is so gifted with his hands and his remembrance and knowledge, he fixed my car.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? So we need to get more programs in the school, identify where these boys' strengths are, and deliver them in that area, man. I know that there are some schools who are doing some positive stuff with the boys, like LW. Let's see, I walk in a couple of them, but not enough.
Yeah.
I want to encourage the parents and the guardians and the male teachers in the school to do something. We have a young lady who is running a program at LW Young. Why isn't a male figure in there helping that program out?
All right, so I know we won't have time to go through all of these, but let's talk about some of them, the biggest ones, the core principles of World Day of the Boy Child, International Day of the Boy Child, some of the things that you're trying to accomplish. And I see this is not necessarily one of the 10 core principles, but we know that verbal abuse of boys is it's been, my goodness, that's a huge problem in this country. It has always been, and it continues to be. It looks like it might be here with us forever. But let's talk about how dangerous and detrimental that is to the psyche of our boys and eventually men.
Dwight, everybody want to feel love, right? We don't hug our boys anymore. Why? Because we're too macho. We talk down to our boys, and a lot of female parents, I'm going to put out there because they say things like, you're going to be just like your pa. That ain't the child's fault if the father is not vocal at home. That's not the child's fault. You should not be casting that spirit on the child. Or the teacher who tells the child, you're not going to do well in school. They should not be doing that. The little things, that little sentence like that, remain with that child. You're degrading that child from a young age. And so the child could spend a whole semester in school, but you remember that same sentence you say to that child. You're not going to be any good. And so what the child do? The child believe that. Instead of saying something positive to the child, man, you're going to get it together, man. Don't worry about that. We could try this another way. So degrading our students by not promoting them mentally, it's killing society, man. Killing society.
Morning. What I want to add to it too is that
David.
as a part of the events we'll be planning this evening, right? We have an event at Salem Baptist Church, outdoor on the courts. We have a number of youth speakers and we have a number of persons. Example, there's a young man by the name of Ramon Ramsey and William Lunn. These persons, I specifically speak about William Lunn and Ramon Ramsey, two young men at the time made some decisions at a young age as we talk about targeting boys. And one, Ramon, in his case, was sentenced to 56 years in federal prison in the United States. It was reduced to 35, but he served 21 years. And so he's one of our speakers who's going to share with these, and that's why we target the young men, because they want to share some of the mistakes they made as a young boy, as a preventative measure. The other person is William Lunn, who spent time in and out of the system. I'm talking about at the Department of Corrections or the prison right here in Nassau, Bahamas. And he has a boys group. And both of these men have a prototype program with the Ministry of Education that they're running right now. And so this is why we targeted our young boys, because we recognize that the mind change, the shift has to take place at a young age. As you know, Dwight, because of my 20 years experience in the prison ministry, and I recognize that, hey, a lot of them are at a situation where their mind, I'm trying to put it in a nice way. Anyway, the point is they're being socialized It takes a greater work for the transformation and the change that needs to take place. So the shift now is let's target these young boys in primary school and point and show them a better way. And so one of the things we want to do is we're having a 3-point contest. We're inviting folks out to bring the boys, be a part of it. The 3-point contest, we're having a free throw contest. We having ringing the cowbells, a Bahamian thing, beating the drums, and this is targeted for boys. And we want them to come out to be a part of it, but more or less listen to these speakers as they share pointers, they share mistakes. They talked about anger management, conflict resolution. They talk about restorative justice. They talk about parenting. So they're going to share based on some of the mistakes. And these are open guys. These guys, they're open. They can share the mistakes they made beginning at a young age, which caused them on a path where they end up. And then they're going to talk about the transformation. Of course, that's from a spiritual, how Christ transformed and changed their lives. So I just wanted to get in there to invite persons to come out to Salem. That's 5 to 7 p.m. this afternoon. As many boys, we want the men to come out. There's refreshments. They have some chicken on the grill. They can have sodas. They can have water. Everything absolutely free. Okay. And I don't see why there should not be 1,000 boys in the Bahamas, along with 500 men supporting them to Salem Park this afternoon to be a part of it. I just wanted to share that. Thanks.
Sounds wonderful. We're going to pray the weather cooperates, because that's a wonderful initiative. Salem, 5 to 7 today. Okay, wonderful stuff. And what's next? What's next for the International Men's Day Bahamas Committee and your work with boys and men in our final couple of minutes here?
Let me chime in, Brother Dwight. I think what's next is for us to begin to create the proper environment for our boys. It's not about events, just an event. And the event is going to be powerful today, but we got to go beyond just having events, where we are working with boys on a daily basis to create the proper environment, to create the right relationships with our boys. And talking about relationships with our boys, we have a taboo in the Bahamas that says, and it may be worldwide, that boys are not emotional, that boys don't have emotions. And a lot of times we suppress that emotion when we say to our boys, oh, big boys don't cry, shut up, you dry up them tears, and all of these kind of stuff that we say to boys, rather than allowing them from a young age to express themselves, to tap into their emotions. And then when they get old enough, when they get older and get married, they know because they have not suppressed their emotions. And so what is forward is that we create the right atmosphere, environments for our young men to thrive and to do well in their giftings and abilities. I don't want to go into what Brother Cox talked about, but educational systems and all of this kind of stuff. The systems that have really suppressed our boys over the years, we got to look at them, and we got to do some stuff better now and different to bring our boys up.
Yeah.
Let me also add, Dwight, because you asked about what next. We're planning on June 11th. We want to have a walkathon along with a South, and everything is free. And with the focus on men and their health, because we focus on men and healthy life. And so we also want to have later on in the afternoon, they're planning to having some basketball competition, some 3 points, and some other 3-on-3. Also, a little later on, we want to plan, we're going to have nurses there to do your free blood pressure checks, glucose tests. And so it's going to be a health fair. We're scheduling it for the 11th of June, providing everything worked out. We also want to have a number of the persons there who will do training. And we want to have at least 3 or 4 different trainers, so at different sessions, you can join whatever time you can come and be a part of this Waco session. This with the focus on men's health. And then the following Saturday, just before Father's Day, in the afternoon, Chapel on the Hill Hall, we want to invite men and boys out. We want to have dominoes, backgammon, chess, checkers. And this is like a social event to bring men and boys together. And we also have a room set aside where if a male feels that he needs to talk to another male, he can go in the privacy of that room, and there'll be counselors So this is some of the events we are planning going forward as we try to bridge the gap with our men and our boys.
Okay. All right. So, and how can people reach you all if they want to be a part of the organization and they need to, if they want to help? What's the best way to get in contact with you all?
I will give my number is 433-6917. So I repeat it again. You can call me, text me, WhatsApp me at 433-6917.
All right, and that's David Williams, folks. Okay, gentlemen, I'm glad to hear that people are looking out for boys in the country. We know there's a lot of pressure on young men, and happy International Day of the Boy Child to all of you and to everybody. Thank you so much. And Keith Cox, I think this was you. This is a text. This is, oh boy. This person saying, I know I'm a bit off topic, but is it possible, can I get the number of your mechanic that you were talking about? That's a text, folks. So you can send it to David, and I'll send it to the texter. Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay. Oh, boy. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're talking with the Department of Inland Revenue. You don't want to miss that discussion. We're talking about real property tax, VAT, and more. Stay with us.
My life to you.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
Just me and you.
You're always on the go. We know life can be a daily rush. CIBC, First Caribbean, you can count on us. We make life easier. Manage your accounts at any time. Apply for a loan. It's easy when you bank online. We make life easier with choices that suit you. CIBC, First Caribbean.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Switch for better when you move your mortgage to Scotiabank. Leave behind that old mortgage plan and open the door to a low interest rate. No payments for up to 2 months and cash back of 2.5% of the mortgage amount up to US $10,000. And guess what? It gets better. Apply for your Scotiabank credit card and enjoy a low 9.99% introductory rate for the first 6 months. Switch for better and upgrade your mortgage today with Scotiabank. Offer ends June 30th, 2022.
Around the world, Cleveland Clinic is recognized as a leader in healthcare. Our team of experts relentlessly pursues the best for our patients. From groundbreaking cancer research to state-of-the-art heart surgery, life-saving innovations happen here every day. When it's time to travel for your health, it's time to travel to Cleveland Clinic. Your destination for care, for every care in the world. To learn more, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
I bank wherever I want thanks to Scotia Online and Mobile. I bank from my garden. I bank from my living room. I also bank from my kitchen. No need to wait in line. Now when I bank with Scotia, I bank on my own time. Seniors, you too can bank your way any time of day without ever going into a branch. Find out more. To get started, visit bs.scotiabank.com/digital seniors.
You know, you should teach a savings class. No, I just choose wisely. Like, I just got 2 months free home internet from BTC. All I did was sign up for internet. 2 months internet free? For real? I bundled my internet and mobile services, and now I'm paying half of what the other guys charge. Plus, as a new customer, I get 2 months internet free. What? Nah, that's a big deal.
Switch to BTC Internet and get the second and third months free for new customers. Conditions apply.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
even when dining out is kind of predictable.
Will that be all, miss?
No, I would like that double-decker caramel chocolate cheesecake.
Sometimes you need to make a classic move. That's why for all of life's moments, there's one classic credit card. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses. Apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic and enjoy 1 year's free membership. Conditions apply.
So I'm gonna work every day. I got mouths, I gotta feed. So I'm gonna make sure everybody eats. I got bills, all these bills piling up on my desk, they looking like a mouth. All these little kids running around, I can hear their stomachs growl. It's a full moon out, and my girl just keep on believe me if I don't come home with 50,000. Oh damn, oh damn, oh damn, oh damn. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Oh damn, oh man, oh damn, oh man. I got bills, I gotta pay. So I'm gonna work every day. I got mouths, I gotta feed. So I'm gonna make sure everybody eats. I got bills.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with you on this Monday morning. And this morning we are talking with the Department of Inland Revenue. This is a discussion that's going to continue into our Morning Blend business hour at 9. And this morning we're very pleased to have with us the Acting Controller, Chandra Strachan, and with us in studio, LaPaige Gardner, who's the head of the REU unit. She's going to explain to us what that means in a bit, and Dexter Fernandez, the head of operations. Good morning to all of you. Great to have you with us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. All right, so we have a lot to talk about, real and more, but just give us an overview of everything that comes under the Department of Inland Revenue. What's in your purview?
Okay, so it's quite a bit. The Department of Inland Revenue is responsible for managing the real property tax, value-added tax, business license, all three of those tax regimes. It's also responsible for issuing exemptions to first-time homeowners. We now also stamp and collect on behalf of the Treasurer for stamp duty. So those are the basic functions of the Department of Inland Revenue.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot. That's a lot going on there. Okay. So we're going to see if we can talk about most of these this morning. But let's begin with real property tax. It's been getting a lot of attention, and some changes have come. Let's talk about that, how that came about, and why, and what you're hoping to accomplish there.
Okay, so
I don't know about changes, Dwight. Okay, so real property tax is the oldest tax. And Dexter can correct me if I'm wrong, from the 60s, from the 1960s thereabouts, was when it was implemented. But of course, because it was the oldest, real property tax was kind of the tax that got the least amount of attention from us as well as from the taxpayers. And so I know everybody's hearing about this $1 billion that's out there. So out of that $1 billion of arrears, the majority of that, like about 700 million of that arrears, is in real property tax. And so we are really, I guess, kind of started to focus on real property tax. In terms of changes, the biggest change, I think, or change, because the law always required that we reassess properties every 5 years. And we did it, but we did it in bits and pieces. But what we did in 2019, we did a reassessment of New Providence. So that was the first time we had looked at an entire island. It would have been good if we could have done the entire country. But we did the island of New Providence. We did a reassessment of the island of New Providence. So I think in terms of changes, that's probably the one that stands out the most. But the most important change is that we are actively trying to collect real property tax arrears. So that's a big change, right? Because in the past, I used to call it the voluntary tax, jokingly, because people paid if they wanted, and we didn't do very much in the area of compliance. But that has changed. I mean, we can't afford not to. now collect those arrears. So the biggest change is we are actively collecting real property taxes.
All right, so I want to ask you about that in a second, but let's go back to the reassessment. So people have been saying that, and apparently it's not across the board, but people are saying that their tax has gone up as a result of the reassessment. Let's talk about that and how these numbers came to be and why some folks see that change.
Okay, so if you look at the island of Providence, we probably now have about 125 assessments, which includes vacant land, residential properties, commercial properties, and owner-occupied properties. And so, by and large, the reassessment was needed because we hadn't been consistent with our values. So what the reassessment does is it puts everybody on an even plane as of a particular date. So as of 2022 tax year, everybody has a current value. Now, yes, there have been some complaints, but here are some things you need to know. By and large, the majority of properties, owner-occupied properties, because we have to talk in classifications, the majority of owner-occupied properties, so I should say quite a bit of them, about 47,000 of them got a zero tax bill. And that is important to note, right? So the majority of owner-occupied properties still are not paying taxes. And that's because of, number one, the owner-occupied exemption is at $250,000. And so even though we reassessed properties and some values went up, some actually went down, even though we reassessed properties, the owner-occupied exemption, and then the government did something this year in terms of it granted a rebate. So the government granted a rebate of up to $312. It meant that properties, owner-occupied properties valued under $300,000, so $300,000 and below, paid no taxes for the 2022 tax year. All right. Now, yes, we did have some increases in some of the, I would call them more, I guess, how do I say, more affluent areas, or some of those areas. And some of those, we did get some queries from those areas like Paradise Island. And we have some from like the Ocean Club area. We have some queries in from Laifiki, and we are looking at those. Some of the queries are valid, but some of them really are not valid. So by and large, the owner-occupied property owners, they actually, I wouldn't say that they were placed at a disadvantage, but the point is we now have current values, and and because of those values, we gave even a greater incentive to that grouping. Now, commercial properties are a bit different. So we do some challenges there. Some of those values, because they weren't done for quite a while, they did see some increases. But yet again, when you look across the board, percentage-wise, you had less persons that experienced increases than those that experienced decreases.
Okay, so for folks who are disputing what you value their properties at, what should they do? Should they get their own assessment? Can they? What's your recourse in that situation?
Well, we've placed on our webpage, inlandrevenue.finance.gov.bs, there's a document, an inquiry form. So they will complete the document to the best of their ability. And it also gives you a section onto it that tells you the documents that we would require. So the key thing is a lot of individuals are of the assumption whatever they went to the bank for their loan is the value of their home. And that's not the case. Right. And so as Ms. Strachan has stated, over the time, some areas have not been valued, Justin. So individuals have to get a new culture of understanding that they should know their value, know that real property tax is a tax, a yearly tax, like you pay your house insurance, and it's your responsibility to come into the department and declare yearly. And you should know your value, and you should know exactly your point of your tax at any point. Unfortunately, we have to change that culture into the department when they're going to transfer or sell the property. Or mommy and daddy, unfortunately, has transitioned and there is some type of legal transition, we know of this. And so we're trying to change a culture where individuals understand their tax responsibility and know how we come up with the values.
Yeah.
And we are open for discussion. We've made some mistakes, and we are willing to review. But the process starts with submitting that inquiry form, and then we go from there. And if you're just further object, there is a tribunal process.
All right, so tell us more about that. How do you come up with the values? Is it, as Ms. Strachan said, based on the more affluent neighborhood, or what are the factors that really do influence?
Well, what we did in this process is we tried to figure out what would the value be, unfortunately, if there was a fire of your home. What is not the selling values? We can look at the sales values. Generally, you would look at this.
Start from the land, Dexter. Start from the land.
Okay.
So you look at vacant land first. Mm-hmm. Look at the land that the property is on.
And then we will look at the average in that area, the selling points. You take out the highs, just basically you take out the highs, you take out the low, you come up with the average for an area. What is the value within that area? And so there's the land value, and then there is improvement, that which you've placed affixed to the soil. And so that could be home. Some individuals would have started off with just maybe did some improvement. They were 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. Now they're 2-story. They've added some accoutrements, we call it. And so as you improve the property, also the value also improves. And the quality of the items that you use in your home, compared to wood, compared to brick, all of those have in our system. And as a person looks at the inquiry form, it asks in more detail. How long you've been in the building, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, and that's how we come with an equitable value for the areas, for zones.
You had inspectors and they went out to the homes?
Certainly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're going to break for our news headlines. When we come back, we'll pick this up. We're getting some great questions about real property tax as well, and then we'll get into some of the other tax forms as well. This is Morning Blend. We're about to do Morning Blend business, but we're still talking revenue. We're going to pick this up on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
Oh, damn, oh, damn, oh, damn, oh, damn. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Doctors Hospital's Pharmacy introduces a new spin on prescriptions called Pick Up Now, Pay Later. That's right, you can collect your medications first and pay after. How does it work? Step 1, submit a prescription online. Step 2, select the pickup site. Collect your medication. And Step 4, pay online within 14 days. For more info, call us at 242-302-4785 or visit us at doctorshosp.com.
Switch for better when you move your mortgage to Scotiabank. Leave behind that old mortgage plan and open the door to a low interest rate. No payments for up to 2 months and cash back of 2.5% of the mortgage amount up to US $10,000. And guess what? It gets better. Apply for your Scotiabank credit card and enjoy a low 9.99% introductory rate for the first 6 months. Switch for better and upgrade your mortgage today with Scotiabank. Offer ends June 30th, 2022.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. Is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up,
It's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Monday, May 16th, 2022. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. This morning we're speaking with the Department of Inland Revenue, and we have Acting Comptroller Shanda Strachan with us, along with Revenue Enhancement Unit Team Leader LePage Gardner and Head of Operations Dexter Fernander. Having a great conversation so far. All right, so we started off with real property tax. People are asking, well, are you sure you were able to inspect my property? I have gates. I don't remember anybody coming. How do you assess when you have a situation like that?
Well, the first thing is government agencies work with each other. So we would say that. And then, of course, we have your information because you have to declare your information to the Ministry of Works unless you have an illegal structure on your property.
Oh, boy.
When you get your occupancy certificate, you get a builder's permit. And there are levels to it. And so what we go on is based on that information. Of course, we can do assessments from the road. Our wonderful Google Earth. There are many ways that we can look at the structure that's there. You can do it for yourself. You can ping your own house on Google Earth and see the dynamics of what would there. So we're thankful for all those individuals who have gone out there and identified their properties for us. It makes us the location easier. But truthfully, we've left over the last 2 years, we've left on doorknobs, information cards asking you to come into us. And so what we have is that information, the assessment so far. And so granted, you have not given us access, and so we give you your privacy, and we go on to the documents that has been lodged within the other government agencies. So lands, unless you've declared something different by your contractor, what you've declared to your bank, what you've information, that's the information gathering process that helps us in what we see as in our system. So keep note, we're not interested in sale value. We go back to the point of saying, what would it cost, God forbid that there is catastrophic something that happens at your home? That which you've placed on your home, what would it cost for you to build that in the current market time?
Right.
And so we're not looking at what sales values are. That's strange. We're only looking at the assessment of the value for the purposes of taxes. Assessment for taxes is totally different from real property for sale values.
Right.
And so that's what we look at.
All right. So,
Dwight, it's important for that person with the question to know that we visited every property, every property. So there wasn't a property in New Providence that we didn't go to. So every property we went to, and if it was like Dexter said, we couldn't get access to the actual, to see the improvement, we were able to take the measurements from the road. We were able to do some basics. And if it is a problem with the value, then as a property owner, they do have the responsibility of declaring their property to us.
Okay. All right. So with vacant land, there's some folks who believe that the prices here are well over what they really should be valued. How does that work in factor into what you do and how you determine how to tax it?
So we did have sales information, right? Yet again, when there's a sale, those documents come to the Department of Inland Revenue for stamping before they're recorded. And then, you have a lot of property owners come to us to request first-time homeowners exemption. So all of that information, we did use sales information going back probably 4 years and to come up with an average value of the average property in a neighborhood. So I guess good example is like the eastern area. A lot of those properties we had the values dating back maybe 30 years ago, when maybe the value a property owner had when they initially purchased a property in, let's say, the Eastwood, Winton, those types of areas. And we may have had that property in our system for maybe $20,000 or $16,000. When in fact, those properties now go anywhere from close to anywhere between $90,000 and $120,000. So the fact is that, because of time and not keeping up with the values, we did have quite a bit of work to do. But we did give the exemptions, and so a lot of those persons are still benefiting any taxes.
Okay, wow. All right, so you mentioned the challenge is collecting. So especially with the reassessments, what's been the response, and what are the challenges you're still facing with collecting?
Well, a major challenge is that there is a dispute. Individuals have changed locations. They still have their information going to their lawyer, the individual who may have done the transactions for them. And so they come in with that statement that they did not know. That's not good. The Act states that you need to declare yearly, so you should be aware of your tax responsibility. So the major challenge is individuals assumed that their house was exempted because of the 250 homeowners. Right? We have to remember the history. If you've never paid, and remember this bracket changed to 250 maybe 5-7 years ago. So
in 2004.
2004.
So the original exemption, well, we had several. First it was 50,000, then it moved to 100,000. And moved to 250,000.
Okay, so if you had a home that's $252,000, so you went to, let's just say that we take the bank value 252, and that was in 1985, and you didn't pay from 1985, you now have outstanding taxes and surcharges. And if you have every year you've not coming in to handle your responsibility, and then there's this reassessment. We've had the challenge where individuals just did not know or played a blind eye to it. And only in, like I said, the majority of we catch this is when there is a sale. Individuals come and handle their responsibility.
Yeah. All right. So if you are under the 250,000, or the last time you were assessed, you've never paid, and you still haven't heard anything from the Department of Inland Revenue, what should you be doing?
You should come in.
Still come in.
Yeah, don't say it like that, Dwight. Don't say it like that. Here's the thing, Dwight. If you own a property, there's some things as a property owner you must know. First of all, you must know your assessment number.
Right.
And then you should really know if your property is in a taxable bracket or not. So really, every property owner should know whether it's vacant land, whether you think the property is not taxed, you should know your assessment number, right? And then every year, the Department of Inland Revenue sends out a notice of assessment in the papers, and we announce that the bills or the values have been assessed for the year, for the tax year, for the upcoming tax year, and your bills at that point are deemed served. So whether or not you receive the bill, it's deemed served. So persons really should, if you didn't receive a bill, still inquire. Don't just take it for granted that, okay, well, maybe I don't have a tax bill.
Yeah.
Some persons are not taxed this year, but they have arrears from previous years when the exemptions weren't as high as they are. You could have somebody not having a tax bill for 2022, but they have 20 years of taxes going back to other years, or 10 years of taxes to other years when their property wasn't exempt. So the onus is still on every property owner.
Okay, and how should you do that? What's the best way? Because, calling the Department of Inland Revenue,
it's difficult.
It's very, very difficult.
So go ahead, Dexter.
The easiest way is, first of all, going to our webpage. Under the real property tax their forms are available. The declaration form, the customer detail update forms, all of those forms are at a touch of a button. And then you have our email address, propertytaxinquiries@bahamas.gov.bs. You will submit the documents there. And then we will just go through the back and forward with the email and getting this stuff done.
And to people who are afraid that by doing this, I'm just shining a spotlight on me, I'm just a bug under a rock, no one's paying attention to me, all of a sudden I'm going to be inundated with taxes.
Well, it's best you come in now and tell it in the future you have a higher bill. And so it's best that you see your obligation now, and let's try to do better.
Okay, all right. We're getting some really great questions here on our text
Okay.
line, and calls coming in as well. All right, so listen to this one. How accurate are your records? I sold a house almost 15 years ago, and they sent me a real property tax bill a few months ago. I no longer own that
That's
home.
a good one.
That's a good one.
So did the new owner declare in the sale of that property? So that means we have the old owner still as the owner of record, and that's common because how would we know if the owner didn't declare the property? So that's a good one, and we would welcome that person who sold that property to update us. It's the property owner really should update the department on any change, whether that be a change in the structure of the property, but definitely if there is a change in the ownership of the property, they should notify the department.
That goes back to that on our webpage. We're talking about the customer detail information. You can submit that document saying that, I've sold, I'm relinquished this. Your lawyer should have done it on your behalf, but you still have that responsibility in that sales transaction so that we can be aware. And then you give the responsibility to the new individual to submit their conveyance of the new transaction. A registered conveyance. So that's a key for us. So that you might say you sold it to an individual. Great. The new individuals will submit the conveyance, and you would need to declare to us that you've sold that property. That starts off the process of you bringing the information into the department.
Our listeners, oh boy, Shunda, someone says, y'all are asking people to snitch on the new owners. That's an interesting word. I don't know why.
Okay, so
that.
Dwight, let's ask this question. What's the purposes of taxes? I think we have really the wrong impression. You're a taxpayer, I'm a taxpayer, Dexter's a taxpayer. If you own a property, the real thing is your property should be assessed and valued so that a determination can be made whether or not it's a taxable property. If it is a taxable property, isn't your responsibility to pay the tax on it? I mean, it's just how we look at things. I mean, it's not snitching, but then too, you would want your neighbors to be doing the same thing you're doing if you're meeting your responsibilities.
Absolutely.
So just look at it a bit differently. It's not snitching, but it's helping your country to bring in the revenue that is due to your country so that your country can provide the services that you would like your country to provide to you. So look at it in that way. Not snitching, but it's being responsible.
And also inside the process, we're helping you. You're not snitching, and because the tax remains with you, even in death, in probate, government gets to the first.
Wow.
So if you want to get that cleared, it's important that you declare it, declare the proper information to the department.
Absolutely. All right. So we've seen recently there's been a push to the commercial banks to help with the collection of the real property taxes. Tell us more about that. Why you're taking that approach, and what taxpayers need to know about this.
So again, the tools are in the Act. Section 19 of the Act really says that the mortgagee has a responsibility to ensure that the taxes are paid. And so the tools that are there to help us to bring in the country's revenue and arrears especially. So we have gone to the lenders, the mortgagees, and we have said to them, okay, you really should be helping us by paying the tax or causing the tax to be paid. And so we've had a discussion with the banks. Of course, they were challenged in that they don't know all their assessment numbers. So we've been going through a process of providing them as much as we can. In some cases, they would have to help us by giving us documents, but we've been providing tax certificates, and we expect that the banks will settle those tax arrears that have been building on the properties for which they are holding as collateral, bearing in mind that the government has first charge on all properties. So I'm sure that the banks want to safeguard their security. And so really, we've been having a productive conversation with the banks, and we expect that some of the arrears that are out there from mortgage properties will be settled shortly.
You haven't seen any movement as yet, or what exactly?
Well, the timeline has basically expired for the banks, and so we expect to see movement within the next week or so.
Yeah.
So we do expect to begin to receive some payments on the certificates that we've already provided them with.
Yeah, well, they definitely put notices out there, so
Yeah,
we'll see.
it's similar to insurance, like
Yeah.
if your property is mortgaged and you don't pay your homeowner's insurance, the bank pays it.
Right.
I mean, there's no question about it because they want to secure their collateral.
Caller, we'll get to you in a second. Seniors, what do senior citizens need to know? Are there special exemptions for them? If they get a real property tax bill, do they have to work?
Okay, so seniors up to $1 million, the value of the home is up to $1 million. They receive a 50% discount for seniors 65 and above. Now, key is there where they reside.
If they live there.
If they're there. And that form is on there. And we want Bahamians to remember to be honest. If Mommy does not live there, we have the information. When we do the site visitation, the person say, the landlord doesn't live here. And you're still coming in. That's a false declaration. That there's penalties for that. But in large, seniors are 50% for owner occupied. Where they reside, they can receive 50% off the bill.
And that's regardless of what the bill is.
No, 1 million. Cap is a 1 million.
As long as it's under that.
Under $1 million. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's take this call. Caller, I hope you're there. You're welcome to Morning Blend Business. Are you there? Let's take the other one. 323-6232. Hi. Hi, good morning.
I'm good, man. Nice guest you got on this morning. Right, let me ask them something. To the guests on the show. Are you guys familiar with the Seminoles Indians in America, in Florida?
Sorry, couldn't hear you just say it one more time?
I said, are you guys familiar with the Seminoles Indians in Florida?
Okay.
Seminole Indians in Florida?
Yeah, what about it, JJ? Mm-hmm.
They don't pay taxes.
Certainly.
See, my thing is that's right. We Bahamian people, I know are killing us, right? See, I mind paying my taxes because Jesus said, when the states were how much more money do you want from the real Bahamians? You give all these funds, all kind of concessions. They leave our country own BC millions, waterways, all the people millions. But us, just the small people who work hard, honest, the whole what they got. You're forcing us. I got a smartphone. And BC, but that's all we have to say, but I got a number, so you're taking me as you. Even if I get. I like things like that, I mean, why you can't be doing this to enlighten the people? See, to me, education is the key, and I think noticing they just be sitting down and wanting pile of people to put out orders on the streets.
So, okay, so what are you suggesting, JJ? What should happen here? You think what?
I understand now some of.
Okay, well,
let's get them to respond. Thanks a lot. Okay,
so Seminole Indians in Florida, that's an act of parliament for a specific minority group. So that would have to be decisions that would have to start with the policymakers. His point is taken. We listen to him. But right now, across the board, remember, only Bahamians in New Providence pay taxes. The rest of the family islands do not pay, Bahamians do not pay real property tax. So that was one of the incentives of moving to the encouragement for the family islands. So his consideration of a specific group of people in the Bahamas, well, then, of course, he'd have to go to his policymaker and identify that specific group. Seminole Indians, I don't know what we would consider a unique group for the Bahamas, but it's a good discussion point.
And remember, like we said before, if your property is valued $300 or below in 2022, you did not receive a tax bill. I should say you received a zero tax bill in 2022 if the value of your property was $300,000 or less, and you own it and you reside there. It's only an owner-occupied property. But now, if it's income generating, that's a different story.
Okay. Oh boy, some of these, I don't think these are for you all, these questions, but they're asking about squatters and shanty towns and what happens there. We can just, I don't know if you have anything to say about it, but there are people who do own those properties, unless it's Crown land, but hey, maybe that's another show. Yep. Okay, let's take this call, and then we want to get some of the other taxes. But good morning, call. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to all of you.
Hi.
Yes, first I'd like to make a comment.
in the beginning of the year every year, we have business license, we got VAT, we got national insurance, we got income tax, and all these things to pay within the first 3 months. These come at you. I am wondering if somebody can give it some thought to spread this out, because a whole lot of people are not either paying it or they're not surviving or they're going underground. You should have some consideration for people, especially business people. Next thing, I would like to know, what does the surcharge mean? What is the surcharge on something that the government don't own and they are requesting the people to pay a tax? I can understand a tax. But then to put something else on it, how do you expect us to come up with this money every year? It's not, I don't think it's fair to the Bahamian people. It's like y'all don't want to stop making my questions.
Okay, so we'll start with the first one of the frequency. It's up to the tax registrant. Business license is not on an annual January to December. It's your calendar period. So if you want that flexibility, you can change your calendar year period for registration. And so if you want to move it to July, June, some individuals have adjusted their companies compared to their annual returns. Regarding value-added tax, it's either on a monthly or quarterly basis compared to what you've registered. So that would give you some burden lifted on paying all of these taxes at the beginning of the year. Now, remember, real property tax, you have up to 11 months, January to November, to pay it. You can pay it monthly, however you wish to. We have an incentive where if you pay it before March 31st, you get 10% discount.
Okay.
But you still you have up until November of any year to pay the current real property tax. So the power is all inside your hand. I'm going onto the webpage and changing your filing period and adjusting, and we can go from there. Just make the burden easier for you.
And you're cashless now, is that right?
That's right. That's right. Where everything you can either pay by debit card, credit card, and short order. The government release another form, and of course you can go into the commercial banks and make payments via transfer or over-the-counter payments there.
Okay. And can you come to your office or?
No, everything is online. Everything is at property tax. Window is still available. We're cashless. You can pay debit or credit card. Check at our window at the real property tax office.
Okay.
On Carmichael Road.
Okay, you can still do that one there, but not the others. No. All right. This text here: can the department put a lien on a property for not paying taxes?
That's Ms. Gardner's section, and the answer is yes.
That's a good question. So, all foreign-owned land, it's foreign-owned vacant land, we have the power of sale. We do have with the other properties, while we have first charge, those aren't properties like we wouldn't sell owner-occupied properties. We won't take possession of those, but there are some other things that we can do, like we can garnish the owner's wages. So there are some other things that we can do, but really right now we have the power to sell foreign-owned vacant land.
LePage, Gardner, you want to add anything to that?
Ms. Strachan has pretty much said it all. Yeah. There are steps to taking enforced action, and so those we try to explore before we get to taking those severe measures.
Okay, all right. You mentioned it there, Shonda Strachan, about the garnishing the wages at the press conference. I think it was that last week. Yeah, you talked about this, and that raised a lot of eyebrows. And perhaps that's what one of the callers was getting to before, that was said. Yet we know that there's so many exemptions and so many people who have loopholes and don't pay taxes. But that was said that you would potentially do this to Bahamians who aren't paying. Let's talk about that and how when we would get to a situation like that, and why we think that's a good way to go.
Situation,
right?
And I mean, Ms. Gardner will speak to collections in a bit, but really, we are inviting persons to have the conversation. We don't want to get to that point, but we are forced now to take some sort of collections measures on those properties that have been in arrears for an excessive amount of time. So I'm not looking at, because I know we got a lot of questions after our show, relative to what about persons that still have queries on the 2022 tax year. And no, I'm not talking about those that have queries outstanding for 2022. I'm talking about taxes that are in arrears, anything owed prior to 2022 for real property tax. So anything that goes from 2021 and back, those properties, if they have significant arrears, the department does have some collection steps that it can take. One of them would be garnishing. So conversation, and we wanted to put it out there because we've never really done that before. But yet again, we've never really been in this type of situation, this financially, the country's financial position before. If you look at what has been said in the media, we're expected to collect $200 million in excess over our normal collections in 2 years. And so we have to now do something with arrears. So garnishing, it's one of the options out there. So for example, if you have, let's say you have a duplex, a triplex, or you have a rental unit and you're not paying your taxes, well, maybe we can garnish the rent for that building. There are some things that we can do, and we are now exploring those things. And not only exploring those things, we really have to move into those areas if taxpayers are not trying to meet their obligations. There are circumstances, legitimate circumstances, where persons cannot legitimately pay. And yet again, we say, have the conversation with us, and we will do what we can to assist. The Act does speak to relief, and there is opportunities for relief for persons that are genuinely in a position where they cannot meet their tax obligations, and we will work with you. But we're talking about cases where we can see through our investigations that taxpayers have the ability to meet their taxes. In those cases, we will do what we have to do in order to bring in the government's revenue. So I just wanted to be, I want persons to realize that we're not just going out there and we're not going to just do it without some investigations. If you can pay, we will do what we have to do in order to get in the taxes.
Can you say whether the commercial buildings downtown, the abandoned buildings, whether the owners of those buildings are paying property taxes, and if you can say, what have you been doing
when we
in those
look at out of all of the commercial properties, probably about 70% of them have arrears. And I'm talking about generally commercial properties, generally speaking.
Wow.
About 70% of our commercial property structures are in arrears. But yet again, those properties you mentioned downtown, there are some other incentives out there for property owners. You have the Nassau Revitalization Project programs. We don't administer that, but they can apply to the Ministry of Finance. I know we just processed one for a taxpayer who had a property or who has a property in the downtown area, but it comes with certain criteria, like the property owner would need to maybe make improvements to their building. But dilapidated buildings, those that are dilapidated, there are charges, based on the fact that you've allowed your building to run down. So if they are going to do something with the building, there are incentives that they can take advantage of.
Now, I know you said you don't want to seize owner-occupied, but I mean, if it's abandoned, is that something that you would consider seizing? And
So
that's in arrears.
right now, the Act, if the property is not owner-occupied, so if you said it's abandoned, then it's not owner-occupied. So that's a different classification.
Right.
Because it was once owner-occupied doesn't mean it's currently owner-occupied. So again, each situation we look at in its own merit, and we make a determination based on that situation.
So downtown, it's possible that you could seize those.
Well, not seize them, but there are some other things that we can do.
Okay. All right.
And what we need to bear in mind too, that we are also engaging private collectors. And with private collectors, again, it comes with an additional cost. So it really is in the best interest of the property owner to try and make contact with us before we move to outsourcing those properties to collections, which we're going to do in another couple of days.
Wow. Let's see if we can squeeze these in very quickly, these calls, before we have to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend Business.
Morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well.
What I wanted to ask the income tax, the property tax people, right? My mother is 81, and I don't think it's fair for senior citizens to be paying this property tax. I really don't think it's fair. But I will hang up and I will listen to what they have to say.
So yet again, depending on which area your mother lives in, she may not be taxed. I don't know. But if she is in an area that is taxed, then she will first of all receive a 50% discount once you make application on her behalf. And secondly, if it is a case that requires relief, you just need to let us know and we would ask you certain questions. And if it is a case where she can get relief, we will give her relief. So again, you may have a senior citizen who is 80 or 90 years old, but they still have active income where they can pay property taxes. So while they receive a discount, they may be in a position to pay the other 50%. But in cases where they are not in a position to do so, it would mean that we would need to be informed so we can make some or give them some sort of assistance.
Mm-hmm. So I'm sending individuals back to our webpage, inlandrevenue.finance.gov.bs. In the real property tax section, there is a copy of the Real Property Tax Act. And in there, and so the first thing is to become an informed citizen, read the act and see what you can have. As Ms. Strawn has talked about, the 50% discount for our seniors. And then there's a section of relief if you are unable to meet your obligation.
Okay. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning. I'm going to calling back. I didn't get an answer to what the surcharge is all about.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for reminding us.
Okay, so like the Act states, if it's not paid within the given year, so like I said earlier, you have January through November, it's like a response. The surcharge is an interest on the outstanding, on that which is outstanding, and it grows every year. So there is a surcharge in all of the taxes, business license and value-added tax. There is a surcharge that's tied to it. So it's one of those things is if we are constantly doing the same thing, your bill is at $100 and you don't pay that $100, what happens when we put 5% compound interest on it? Does your habit of paying that $100 on time happens? So the surcharge is that your responsibility over the years, you have neglected your responsibility, and so there's interest charged onto your.
So in a nutshell, surcharge is a penalty for not paying your tax within the year of when the tax bill was issued.
Okay.
So it's a year before we add surcharge. You have 1 year to pay your tax before we add a surcharge if it's not paid.
As we go to the break, this person says here, well, people don't mind paying. It's just going from $300 to $3,000 in 1 year. That's insane. I don't know if, Texter, that happened to you, but is that a likely scenario at all that it could have jumped that much?
For some individuals, like you said, like Ms. Strawn has indicated, some areas were not assessed from 1985. And let's truth be told, out in the eastern area would not be costing $15,000 for land. And so some individuals, we could have gone back years, but we only applied for the current taxed year. And I think the government still gave a $300 rebate on that. And
but to answer your question, Dwight, then no, that's not normal for an owner-occupied property. Now, unless that property owner has a different classification and something was very much had changed from when we initially did that that valuation, then no, that would not be the norm. So if it is that happened from $300 to $3,000, that's an exceptional case that I would really like to know more about.
And so the first step is to submit the application form, and then the information form. I'm calling it an application form from the webpage, so we can look at the details of it. What would cause that drastic jump, and we can go from there.
All right, we're going to take a break. It seems like we could do the whole show on real property tax, but we wanted to get in some of the other ones as well. Maybe you can come back to continue with us. But let's take the break and come back, and we'll talk about some other tax collection initiatives. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
It's good. He could do Junior in.
For what?
Boy, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you on?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and he boys coming for me next.
All right, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So what are the boy?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the crack crime Bahamas, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them, and you can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Calls 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
History has taught us that in crisis, humanity will always respond with innovation. What world-changing technologies will emerge from humanity's latest challenges? How can the Caribbean capitalize on the metaverse, blockchain, hybrid work, and more? Join us at the RF Economic Outlook Conference under the theme Future Forces, World-Changing Ideas, where we will explore the future of work, investments, technology, and more. The journey begins on June 8th. Reserve your seat today at www.rfeoc.com.
Play this record as frequently as possible.
Friday, May 20th, it's time to feel good.
It's Star 106 and Four Walls.
Feel Good Friday.
Classic.
The Star 106 Anniversary Edition.
Happening at the Four Walls Squash and Social Club Village Road.
It's the after work.
I got so early vibes.
Vintage.
Block party.
Exclusively for the grown and sexy.
With the best in throwback classics.
Happening at the new Outdoor Terrace Bar at Four Walls.
Limited tickets on sale now at the Nassau Guardian and Four Walls for $20 in advance.
Come out early to enjoy the open room bar from 5 to 6 p.m.
This is a strictly cashless party.
So bring your old school dancing moves with your new school payment options.
Feel Good Fridays. Friday, May 20th.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
The city of Miami is waiting for you, and Island Pay wants to take you there. Yes, you heard that correctly. Island Pay is giving away 5 priceless trips to Miami for 2 people just for using your MasterCard prepaid card. Every $30 you spend gets you a chance to win. Whether it's on groceries, gas, diapers, clothes, gifts, online, and others, it's all counting and getting you closer to an unforgettable experience. Have an Island Pay MasterCard yet? No problem. Get yours today. And Island Pay will give you $15 back. Island Pay, a better way to pay, a better way to win. Promotion running March 21st to May 18, 2022. Conditions apply. Visit islandpay.com to learn more.
We are back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan. We're speaking with LePage Gardner, Dexter Fernandez, and Shonda Strawn with the Department of Inland Revenue. And we're talking about taxes, talking about real property tax. We're going to get into VAT in a bit, hopefully, and more. All right, so the texter who jumped from 300 to 3,000 texted us back. Commercial building on Kemp Road, no changes.
Okay, so the easiest way, we might have made a mistake. We asked them to fill out the inquiry form, on the webpage, inlandrevenue.finance.gov.bs. A week ago there. It might have been they were in being the wrong classification all along, and we adjust in the adjustment, seeing that he should be in the correct classification. But let's start the process. Go to the webpage, complete the form to the best of their ability, attach the documents, and email it into us so that we can start the process of revisiting.
Okay.
And maybe get some ability to come onto your property, make an appointment so that we can go from there.
Okay. This person says that I got a real property tax bill for my house that is still under construction that I haven't moved into yet. Is that correct, or do I have to come in and check on that?
Well, the Real Property Tax Act was adjusted last year, amended in 2021, and improvement. Previously, it said of an improvement above $15,000. So let's say you were putting your foundation on, or something, some accoutrement or whatever you were. The Real Property Tax Act removed that word of the value. So anything now that is affixed to the soil has a value and now can be assessed. All right. Let's say that you're trying to build this home, bell course. Before you go to the bank and everything, and you've gotten partial occupancy and you're in there, should we be taxing you? Should not. So it's case by case. We look at it. Starting process again, submitting the form, the property tax inquiry form, and then we can adjust. But I want everyone to know that there was amendment to the Real Property Tax Act that was passed in the budget communication last year, 2021. That removed that value of improvement. And so now anything that is affixed to the soil, anything affixed to the soil will receive a value. That is a value. Just like you do in your insurance, phase one of your building, there's a value, there's a value.
Okay. This texter here has a fundamental issue with real property tax.
Oh.
So listen to this. If you've worked hard to purchase a small duplex, you are still paying the bank and the rent can only cover half the payment. You're not generating income for the life of the mortgage. How is it fair to have to pay taxes on that? That's a burden. You should not have to pay until you at least own the property. That only makes sense. That's the text. What do you say to that?
Say he needs to speak with his representative because the fact of the matter is the act makes it clear that those properties are taxed. And if that's what he's talking about is a change in policy, and we really can't speak to that.
Okay, and on the duplex, the portion that he's residing on is exempted. So he's only being taxed on the residential part that is rented.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. Let's take these calls, and then we want to get to that and some other things. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there, caller? All right, call us back. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? We had them holding too long. Okay, this one. Yes. Are you there? Good morning. No. Okay, 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. This tweet going back to the cashless policy that you have there. They're saying that the DIR and all other government agencies, for that matter, may wish to reconsider the no-cash policy. It's inconvenient and may even cause the agencies to fall short of their targets. The very least phased in. Is this even lawful? Anybody want to tackle that one?
Well,
oh boy. Hey, I mean, well, it's
Yeah,
the way the world is
policy
going, eh?
now that we are, that's the way,
Yeah.
that's the way the world is going. But I mean, we do, if they're coming into us and they have no other means to pay, we will work with them. But generally speaking, our policy is that we don't take cash. But we do
And
take
for
the debit
security
card.
reasons, I would fail to see someone coming to pay a $3,000 bill cash. We're trying to help you also. And this is the way we're transitioning. We hear your cry, and well, we'll see how best we could assist.
Okay, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, guys.
Hi.
2 quick points. If a parent died and they have an apartment, could someone come in and make an arrangement to catch up on the rest?
First
yes,
of all, if
definitely.
you can,
Yes, they can.
Any tax incentive for our payment plan available at this time?
Payment plans are available if the property is not mortgaged. So if the property is
All right,
mortgaged,
let me ask you one more question. Why is it you're telling me the government can, Inland Revenue can, go back actively on those properties downtown if they had owed taxes, say, 20 years ago, and they owed taxes 5 years within that 20 years, not since they got derelict, okay? You're telling me the government can't find a way to seize those properties? I mean, that's our bread and butter. Downtown is our bread and butter, madam. And I'm telling you this right now. If we continue this way, we're going to have the same old problem for the rest of our lives. And downtown looks like a garbage, okay?
Yeah, you have a right to be angry, but I don't know if you're angry at the right people. That's my policy. You all can defend yourselves, but right, you've been saying it a lot this morning. Talk to your representatives. But what is your position on that?
So the downtown properties are taxed. They are being taxed, and some of them do have arrears that go back quite a ways back. But I think everybody is really just very interested in the owners ensuring that their properties are not derelict and doing something with the properties. And again, if they're in the downtown area, there are incentives to encourage them to improve their properties and to make them useful to the Bahamian citizenry at large. So yes, those properties are taxed. To answer your question, can we go back? It isn't a need to go back because the taxes are on the accounts. But there are incentives for the downtown properties to make them. I think the goal is to make them usable again. It would be best if we could do something with downtown. So it would benefit all of us if we could improve downtown.
Okay. One more call, and then we'll get to that. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Okay. Yeah. Hi, caller. You're on the air.
Yes. Good morning to you, Dwight, and your two guests, Cial and Johnson.
Three. Yes. But,
I have three quick questions. I noticed they says that about being able to power of sale over vacant land. What power do they have, or foreigners? What power do they have when foreigners who actually occupy their properties don't pay or actually built on it? With power of sale, they don't pay. Secondly, I'd like to know what is the cap for real property tax? Like, do you have a limit to say property is about $5 million? It goes from $1 million and caps at a certain amount. And my third question, and this may be a policy question, is it possible that for you not to simply sell tax certificates on these properties that is not being paid their taxes, so individuals within the community say you just assess a 12% interest on them or whatever, and you on they say a year after it's due, the government could collect 100% of their taxes. I would buy the tax certificate if the people don't pay me, say, in 3 years or 5 years. On top of that, I could then move to take possession of that property or whatever for outstanding tax. So within a year, the government will get 100% of all real property tax that is due, and the government can continue moving forward and let those of us that buy the tax certificate take possession of the property with the owner. Thank you.
Okay.
So some good points from C. Allen. Some of them we can only do what the law allows us to do. So yes, we do have the power of sale over foreign-owned vacant land. It gets more challenging if those are foreign-owned, owner-occupied properties, because the law only speaks to right now foreign-owned vacant land. We have the power to sell, but the others we do, and we can go through a process to really be able to do something with those properties that are, let's say, owner-occupied. But it would be through the courts, right? And we have had cases like that. Again, like I said before, we are engaging private collectors, and with the engagement of private collectors, we're able to go the extra mile. If we don't get any, if we're not successful in persons paying once a private collector contacts them, we do go straight through to the courts to get an order in order to sell those properties. I think he had another question, which I don't remember.
Yes, he asked about the question regarding a cap Unfortunately, the Real Property
So
Tax
there's
Act.
a cap on owner-occupied properties.
Yes.
Only on owner-occupied properties, and that is $1,000 per year. And so you're looking at properties that are valued over $5 million, Dexter?
Correct.
Fall into that. So those are capped at $60,000.
Okay.
But the details of that, if they want further information, it's on our webpage, inlandrevenue.finance.gov.bs. You go to the frequently asked questions in the real property tax section, and question number 10 will give you a response to how the brackets, and it's also just pulled from the Real Property Tax Act again, that gives you that same detail.
All right, so clearly we could do 2 or 3 hours on real property tax, and we need to have you all back to talk more about this. But I want to get this in very quickly about VAT. At the press conference, you mentioned that there are merchants out there who are charging VAT who are not authorized to do that. How big a problem is this? Tell us about that.
The page.
The page.
Yes, so there are some things that we discovered during the audit process. And those are just 2 of the non-compliant issues that we've seen. Approximately, let's say 50% of taxpayers are at some level not reporting taxes which they've collected. Other issues we see tax paying, which means they are not paying the correct amount of revenue to the government. So there are other issues as well, right?
So, okay, as consumers, what should we be doing? I know you see them when you're not really looking for it, the tax certificate there, all the tax information. But if you don't see this and somebody's trying to charge you VAT, what should you do?
So as a consumer, anytime you go into an establishment, the first thing you can do is to look around in the business to see if you see a certificate hanging on the wall. Very quickly, if a business is registered for that, you will see a certificate that has the VAT Bahamas watermark logo in the certificate. If they are not registered for that, which means they are not authorized to charge VAT, the certificate has the coat of arms as a watermark on the certificate. For the VAT registrant, if there is a certificate that has the watermark, the VAT Bahamas watermark in there, it's supposed to have the name of the establishment and the exact location. So you may have a business that is a registrant, but they may have 3, 4, 5 locations. Each location is supposed to have its own certificate.
Wow.
So to ensure that all locations are registered. So we don't want a business who has a location on Carmichael Road using a certificate for their location that may be on Blue Hill Road, because that's a means of potentially underreporting revenue for one of the locations.
And if you ask and you get an ad, what do you do?
Well, the consumer always has the ability, if they shop at this place, they receive a receipt. If the receipt has a VAT charge on there, if they are uncertain as to whether this person is a legitimate VAT registrant, they can always contact the department to confirm that. Or we have a VAT registrants list and a TIN-only registrant list on our website. So they can verify for themselves whether or not this establishment is a VAT registrant. If it is not a VAT registrant, then provide us with a copy of the receipt, and our compliance officers will do further checks on that.
Okay.
So before, you can go back to our webpage, what we talked about, and you can see the VAT list compared to the TIN-only list. And if you still went through with the transaction, you can call our hotline, 225-7280, and we will talk to you, and you can submit to us the invoice or receipt that you have, and we will do that. The Act gives us specific penalties that we can go after that individual with.
And have you been doing that? Have you had to do that? And what? Yeah, how quickly can you say?
Yes,
oh boy,
unfortunately.
how frequently and what are the penalties? Really quickly.
So you can be penalized if you are an unregistered person that's charging VAT, the law allows us to charge up to $150,000.
Mhm.
So it's considered a very serious breach.
Yeah.
If you are registered for that, but under reporting your turnover, there's also penalties for that as well.
Well, okay. All right. We have to have you back. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. A very informative conversation, and we're willing to help get the message out there to folks. So please come back. But LePage Gardner, Dexter Fernanda, and Shonda Strawn, thank you all so much for being here this morning. One thing really quick, LePage?
Yeah, I just wanted to say to your listeners, if you presently have debt in any of the taxes, whether it be value-added tax, business license, or real property tax, please contact one of our collectors who's ready to speak to you. I'll give you 3 telephone numbers: 604-8276, 604-8096, or 604-8117.
Okay. And you're
We're
gonna work
ready
with
to
them.
speak to you?
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you again, LePage, Dexter, Shonda, thank you. And Department of Inland Revenue, thank you all so much. All right, that is going to do it for us today. Remember to pick up today's Guardian Business section for your business news. And Morning Blend Business, brought to you in part by Seafowl, growing wealth for future generations. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strawn, have a great one. We're on the clock with Aaron Green coming up next.